I say that we are. All black everything, and our girls are blackbirds, riding with they diligence. Kid more in depth if you boys really know. It's family squared up, hold up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're ready. We hope you're ready, okay? We're here, all right? We're here. We hope you are ready, folks. Okay? Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. I think we're ready. Is everyone here? We here? Connor, Warren, are we here?
We're here, Cody.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, I just want to make sure I had a quick audio flub at the beginning there, but listen, it doesn't matter. We've got people in here. We got people in the chat. We got people hyped. Listen, we've got King. We've got Ben. We've got Top Sports Network. Okay, Top Sports. That feels like an official broadcast network. Hanging out here. We've got both Kings actually. You know, we've got Crooked and the King. Obviously, Warren and Connor here joining you. Listen, I'm not your host tonight. Okay, I'm not your host. I'm just you know your I don't know, maybe your guide. I'm your Vanna White tonight, if you will. Your host is the one and only Connor Rice. Connor, how we doing tonight?
You're here to look good and do a great job of it. I'm doing great, Cody. Reason you're hosting, I'll be clear to people. I have a new laptop and I'm scared of it. I have not set everything up yet. It seems very slow when I try to run everything. So I'm having Cody run it, but this is I would say the start, but they're having a couple pieces of content. So this is the continuation of what I'm hoping is an incredible year. Not just for content in terms of the college football league, but we are starting a league that hasn't been possible for the last 11 years. We've been waiting for 11 years for this, and I'm very, very excited to be here.
Amazing. And then, you've seen it probably in the notification, but then, of course, we've got the one and only Warren, BL champion, probably, a lot of people would say second to, the GOAT Austin. I'm sure he would tell you, Austin's nothing to him. But, Warren, how are we feeling?
And I'm probably one of the few people who have been around when it was NCAA with the 13 or even before 14, whatever. I was in the trenches. I was there, and there was a long gap of this was not happening again. They stopped the games, and we never thought this would happen. And it was one of those things, people waiting for Final Fantasy remakes or waiting for games that we don't know if they're ever going to come out. And man, here we are. We're less than 2 weeks away from getting our hands on this new game, and we'll all be cooking.
Amazing. All right. Sounds like people are saying they want you all a little bit up more. You guys, are we still good? They still up? No. How we sound, folks? I don't want to.
I can just start yelling in the mic. That's pretty much all I do during commentary anyway. So I'm used to it.
Yeah, I think we're probably. I mean, I've got you guys turned up pretty darn loud right now, but
The mic's like literally in my mouth, so
well, no, yeah, I can turn you all up as well or turn you all up as well. I don't know if it's. Let me check the audio settings here as well. Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure it out as we go here. If anyone feels like they're crazy quiet, just let me know. But I've got them. I mean, absolutely cranked. I've got Warren and Connor at like 165 right now on Discord, and then pumped up on my end as well. So I'm gonna be deaf by the end of the night. So that's gonna be tough. But that doesn't matter, okay? Because what matters is the content. So we're gonna jump right into this BL Tier Show. Connor, I'll let you lead the way here.
We suffer for our viewers. That's what we do here on BLN. I mean, I was saying before, and I apologize. I continue to delay this and continue to tease the actual tiers, which is really what people are here for. But I'm speaking to two gentlemen right now who I have not spoken to on a Better League Network show since the team reveal, right? Since we came out with the teams, obviously. Warren, I don't know who your favorite college football team is. I don't know if you have a favorite college football team. Cody obviously got his hometown team, the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cody, I want to start with you, and I'm not going to go like deep into like a ton of questions because obviously people are here for the tiers and they'll riot if I go too far into this. But just like, what is your connection to Cincinnati? Why'd you pick Cincinnati, and how are you feeling about getting them?
Yeah, obviously, a Cincinnati boy through and through. Bengals, Reds, Bearcats. I actually live in Kentucky, so it's actually to a lot of my family members, it's a little sacrilegious. The majority of my family are Wildcats fans. The Kentucky Wildcats. But yeah, I don't know. My mom and dad just, I guess, at some point decided to be Bearcats fans. And that's just rode out. It's been, like I said, it's Cincinnati through and through. It's Bengals, Reds, Bearcats. And so we've just been riding them ever since then. We've had some promising college basketball teams. Obviously, a couple absolute greats have come out of the Bearcats basketball team. Some absolute greats have come out of the football program. And there's even been a couple greats coming out of the baseball program. Any Boston Red Sox fans, Kevin Youkilis. I mean, Cincinnati produces some talent. Obviously, might not be the flashiest, and we've had our woes nonetheless. But I'm excited to bring him to glory.
Yeah, I'll get to Warren real quick. It's a top sports network, aka Finn. I want to be clear. Yes, we have 132 different logos on this tier list. We will not be tiering everyone, right? We're not tiering all 132 of these teams. It's only the teams that users are actually controlling. Air Force will not be tiered, Akron will not be tiered, etc. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Or if that's what you wanted out of this, then I'm sorry, but we're not getting that. But Warren, I think heading into this team reveal, a lot of people were very vocal, and it was very obvious in terms of who a lot of people's favorite teams are, who a lot of people's number ones were. No one really knew where you were going. You moved in silence. Why did you ultimately land on LSU, and what is it about their program that intrigues you so much?
Sure. So I was peer pressured by Ben. I was at work, I was bored, and he's kind of said I need to do my list. So I did a little research. College football is like the least important thing on Long Island. It's like bagels, pizza, I guess traffic, and that's about it. There's such like a lack of sports presence here outside of like Stony Brook or that's pretty much it. So I went to state school. I did not go to any of these schools that had sports programs. So I was kind of just looking at different teams, and I always, my philosophy when I play any game is to have the other person have a bad experience. And I feel like picking LSU, if you're coming into Death Valley, you're gonna have a bad time. So I felt like it was a good fit for me. And also I just feel like the players that came out at LSU the past couple of years or past 10 years plus have been really, really cool, like game breaking type of players. So across the board. So it's a good program. I really am excited to play at home with them and kind of get that going. So there's no excited to play with.
Yeah, I mean, according to EA, I guess Kyle Field, Texas A&M, I guess is louder, but yeah, any college football fan, casual or not, knows that Death Valley at night is built different, and I pity anyone who has to go there. Seasons 1, Season 2 cannot be me, but maybe we'll set up a home and home later. In terms of these tier lists, ladies and gentlemen, this is, again, it's going to be a bit more of an art than a science here. This is, in theory, a combination of team skill, team prestige, the actual team you're using, and user skill. Is it a bit premature to do this before anyone's played a single snap of College Football 25? Maybe it is, but at the same time, we're here to fire off takes on Barrel League Network, and I'd say we do that better than any other Madden league, and we will continue to do that. So, Cody, Warren, is there a certain conference you want to start with, or what do you want to start with here?
I think wherever you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, I'm feeling. I'm just moving my camera around so we can zoom in on this this tier list, get it nice and good here. And so yeah, whatever you're feeling, let's jump right into it.
Totally. So I think since in the team reveal we went in order ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, we can go in reverse order for this, so we can start with the SEC, which is where a lot of dogs are. We're going to have a lot of people in these higher tiers to start off, but let's start off with Dan's Alabama. It's been, he doesn't have a quote-unquote favorite college football team, but he's always been a man who's deeply respected, deeply admired Nick Saban, and has kind of gravitated towards Alabama as a result. Perennial dynasty, perennial top 5, top 3, top 1 team over the last 15 years. And even though Nick Saban does retire, Kalen DeBoer is able to hold that team together, hold that roster together pretty well, and maintain kind of a top 5 quality going into 2024. And as Dan, this seems relatively easy to me, but how are you all feeling about his tier?
And just so I don't want to offend anyone before we start here. Once we start with a team, I'm just gonna drag you into bottom dwellers. I don't think you're a bottom dweller. I'm just gonna start you there, so I've got your logo ready to go. But I'll start since I've already been talking. I think to me it's pretty obvious what we're looking at here. I mean, Dan is obviously, when we're talking about Madden, is a playoff contender, Super Bowl contender year after year. And he's going to be getting, the best, if one of the best, if not the best, colleges in football, if you will, in college football. And so to me, I would put Dan in a title contender. He's going to have the best recruits. He's going to have a stacked team to start with. We know he's got the stick skills, and I obviously, Madden and I think college football are going to be different, but you'd at least assume that he is going to be in that title contender race with that roster, with that recruiting program, just with the prestige and all that.
Yeah, and I want to say the way I'm ranking these teams, again, as mentioned, no one's played a snap. Kind of just, I guess, based on your history, the program itself, and how I think your game will translate. So gameplay-wise, we've seen kind of the game, it's supposed to be a little sped up. It's supposed to be a little more like wide open, maybe even like circa, Madden a couple of years ago, where like you could actually move your players and no one's stuck in mud. So I think like if that's a thing, and where we're able to kind of like have more control and more freedom, and the game's kind of like more, I guess less structured and just more like wide open, that'll definitely help some people. In terms of Dan, I mean, he's all in to win a natty. This guy is a roller coaster. We all want Dan to win, but I don't want him to win at my expense. So, taking Alabama with, all A pluses, having a quarterback who's going to be one of the fastest, guys in the game to start. He's got the team to compete from day one, and I think, title contender or bust, 100%. Anyone who takes Bama, that should be the expectation. But yeah, title contenders for me.
Absolutely title contender. I don't think that's much of a debate. You paired Dan together with Alabama, it's really tough. Moving on now to another person who I think it's relatively easy to tier, though, the roster may not quite be at the level of where Alabama is right now. The fact is that the last 3 coaches IRL to coach LSU have all won titles. Nick Saban, Les Miles, Ed Orgeron. That is the expectation of that program. Of course, most recently, everyone remembers 2019 LSU, led by, yes, Cody, Joe Burrow. One of the greatest offenses, frankly, in the modern history of college football. Nigh unstoppable. You cannot do anything to them. But that's the level of team you can recruit to LSU. It's not there right now. They do lose Jaden Daniels to the NFL, but bring back a decent defensive core and a really good wide receiver core. So even if 2024, the roster's not quite maybe where it'll be in later years, the fact is that the infrastructure's there, the recruiting juice is there, and of course, I haven't even mentioned yet, but Warren is the man using LSU. So again, I think this is pretty obvious, but Warren, you can start. It's always a little awkward to talk about yourself, but you can start on this one.
So Cody, before saying I'm number 2 to Austin, I'm going to do everything in my power to flip that. Obviously, I can't do it in college football because Austin's not welcome in this league, apparently. But at the same time, even in Madden, Austin had a good run this season. I'm not over it. And I'm here to compete. Everyone says compete. No, like we got some people in here who are competing, and we're gonna have it across the board, in both leagues. But yeah, I'm talking contender until I fall off the face of the earth. That's a standard, and that's where I feel like it should be. And again, we don't know. We don't know how the game's gonna play out, but hopefully I can make good things happen with this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's not much there's not much anyone can argue that, Warren and the LSU Tigers aren't going to be a title contender, right? This is another top tier program. Obviously, I think they're going through their woes a little bit after probably losing go Tigers. But losing the kind of that couple of years where they were just absolutely dominant. But it's SEC football. It's, you're right there in the South. Yeah, the recruiting's going to be not easy necessarily, but much easier than the likes of, me in Cincinnati, if you will. So I think it's going to be, there's nothing that doesn't tell you that, that Warren's not going to be a title contender. Now, do I put him ahead of Bama? I don't know right now. For me personally, like I think if we're tiering these in order, I think Warren probably has the stick skills ahead of Dan. But if we're looking at this college game in a vacuum, it seems like it's going to kind of really lean into, yeah, I know, in a vacuum, folks, get ready.
Speak my love language.
If we're looking at it like that, it seems like it's really going to lean pretty heavily into the players, their ratings. Like, if you've got a lower tier guy, they might miss a throw. They might not catch a ball. They might fumble or something like that. Whereas I think Alabama's going to get the edge with their recruits over LSU. So I'd put Dan first just in that case, for recruit wise and player wise.
2024, same deal. I would also put Alabama as the slight favorite. They're just overall a more solid team. But if Warren a couple recruiting cycles, let him start to build this LSU team in his own image and his own likeness. He'll be just fine, I suspect. Moving on now to, again, another absolute dog, another absolute demon of a user, but someone who frankly does not have nearly as good of a roster is Allen with South Carolina. Frankly, these are not the Steve Spurrier days anymore. You're not getting 5 stars, 4 stars from the South Carolina area walking through that door anymore. Clemson's been dominating local recruiting for a long time. They have a little bit of juice. They have a little bit of life. They're not an absolute bottom feeder SEC program like the Vanderbilts of the world. But the fact is, when you look at them compared to not just Alabama and not just LSU, but quite a few of these other programs are going to have to play with, Allen is going to have a significant roster disadvantage in, frankly, most of these SEC games. So given all of that, Cody, where do you put Allen?
Yeah, this is in so everyone knows, there wasn't I would say, we've thought about this. It's not like we're just coming in here willy-nilly, but there is a fair bit of just gut reaction, right? And this might be the first, maybe the first hot take for the show. For me personally, I would say this team's a fringe playoffs. I think Allen has certainly the stick skills. I'm running the show here, so I just popped him into fringe playoffs. So we will be able to move this, but I think Allen certainly has the stick skills. Obviously I think the recruiting is not going to be a big issue, but it's not going to be, as good as Alabama, LSU, those schools, some of the other SEC schools. But I just think there could be a steep learning curve when it comes to the game, when it comes to just recruiting, all this type of stuff. I think Allen has proven in Madden that he's been pretty solid, but he's also had his ups and downs, I feel like, at times. So for me, I don't necessarily feel confident season one just jumping right in saying like, oh, he's for sure in the playoff race. For me, it's like he could get there, but like I'm not sold on it.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Allen's like the man. I hype him up probably more than anybody because I've seen how good he can be, and then I'll watch him play Cloud and lose, and I'm like, okay, like why is this what I'm seeing right now? And maybe his daughter's crawling on his face as he's playing, or maybe whatever is going on. But the inconsistencies what kills me with him. So again, when I was saying before about it being if the game's more wide open, I do think Allen's skills will translate. I do think he's a good on-the-fly type of player. I think he's like a playoff race. I put him in that tier. But again, in the SEC, it's gonna be a dogfight. So those games are gonna be so important. I think he's in the playoff race, but fringe playoffs, playoff race, whatever. It's somewhere in there. Dan, you can kind of, Connor, you can kind of, split the tie.
I would also put him, if this is purely a 2024 tier list, I would also put him in fringe playoffs, so where Cody initially had him. The fact is you could plop this Allen South Carolina team into, especially the Big 12, probably the ACC as well, and from a roster perspective, he'd be competitive. He'd probably be in the upper half, or at least kind of the halfway mark, but this SEC is just going to be really tough. And, like, yes, even though he is, clearly one of the better pure users in the SEC, like, you've got a lot of, again, very frisky users who just have way better teams than he does, and as well as, obviously, Dan and Warren, who arguably have the user and the team edge, and it's just really, really tough to know what to do. I was talking about Warren's LSU as kind of a short-term rebuild, taking maybe 1 or 2 recruiting cycles. This South Carolina team, this is a team that will really take him closer to, I think, 4 or 5 recruiting cycles for him to really get the team where he wants to, especially, if what EA is saying is true, if it's, as difficult as it seems to recruit with these mid-tier programs, you might be in for a tough time as far as pure team building goes. But yeah, you have to give him respect with the 6 skills. You have to put him in that fringe playoff tier regardless. The next man is, again, and I want to give everyone their respect. I have not seen Payne play in a while. I know that when he was in Madden, in BL, I think back in Madden 22, it was shaky. It was questionable. Auburn as a team is one I would put maybe just above South Carolina, like barely like a skosh above South Carolina in terms of their ability to compete year one. They do have a pretty bad base in terms of their passing offense. The receivers, the quarterback are not good, but their defense is really good. It's tough to know whether to go mid or bottom dwellers. I would probably go bottom dwellers based purely off of who surrounds them in the SEC. But I'm willing to hear counter arguments, obviously. And Warren, I want to hear your thoughts first on this one.
Sure. So Auburn, to your point, I mean, the saving grace is the defense, right? They're ranked number 17th. With an 86, which is on par with USC, Wisconsin, et cetera.
Oh, with USC, sorry, the clownery. Keep going.
Not elite, not awful. So at least there's some building blocks there. But I mean, you're gonna need a 99 defense to like Dan's offense already comes in like with everyone being like just god tier. That's gonna be rough. Yeah, that's I don't know enough to say anything outside of I like to put people at the bottom and let them work their way up. I think that's the only way that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's a bottom dweller, and maybe this is just hanging my hat too much on Madden, but I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm getting hateful here, but I think you could give Payne the Crimson Tigers, and I'd probably put him at like mid. It's like I just think we haven't seen the stick skills. This is not, Auburn's not a program. They're a good program, but it's nothing that's, popping off the page that is going to make you feel confident that it's like, holy crap, this guy's frisky. This guy's a fringe playoff. So I think until proven otherwise, it's a bottom dweller.
I mean, you're not going to hear any disagreements from me there. Hopefully Payne can, play his way up, maybe upset a couple users his first year, but for now, yeah, I think bottom dollar is pretty fair.
It's no sportsmanship. Remember, no sportsmanship. So Cody, you don't.
That's true.
In
Yeah,
NCAA, we don't have to filter anything. So
that's true.
I actually apologize that I haven't been myself. I've been a little too nice. I'll turn it back on. But yeah, no sportsmanship. Rule number one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Iron Bowl might turn into a snuff film. That's gonna be a tough watch, I think, later on. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how mean Dan's feeling that day. But another user gets his favorite team, Cloud, who just seems to be like the example of a bad user that Warren uses like every time he comes on here. He's like, oh, he lost a Cloud. That's how I know he's dog shit. Like I hear a lot of that from Warren. Tennessee, a very fun team, a very unique, honestly, offensive system that I would encourage y'all to watch. It's like it's a lot of wide splits. It's a lot of deep shots. Just like it's not air raid, but they use a lot of air raid concepts in the passing game, and it's very, very unique. Again, I would encourage everyone to watch it. But Tennessee as a roster, again, it's like kind of like it could probably on their best day compete with like an LSU, but overall it's probably somewhere in between LSU and then the two previous teams I mentioned, like South Carolina and Auburn, is in that like 8-4, 7-5 range. I think this is like the definition of frisky. That is like exactly where I put Cloud personally. I think he absolutely has the capability, both with his team and as a user himself, to rise up and beat some teams that he shouldn't necessarily. Maybe not Dan, maybe not Warren, but we'll go on to it. Maybe like a King or a Will, but that just seems like where he belongs to me. But Cody, what do you think?
Yeah, so as you were talking, as I was pulling the Tennessee logo up into the tier list, I was sitting there balancing in between mid and frisky. And I think I lean towards frisky, but I'm really trying to. I'm almost trying to convince myself out of it. But I don't think I need to. I think I agree with you personally. I think Cloud's one of these guys that he understands the game, but he's maybe in that Dehootie level of like he likes to just do things a little different, right? Like he likes to kind of have a different scheme, like I could see Cloud being the guy that runs, a triple option with Tennessee or something like, it's just like he runs an Army or Navy style offense with Tennessee. And it's like when you play him, you're like, I'm probably going to win, but like if I lose, I'm pissed. Like in like type of like, it's like he could win, but you expect to Cloud could win, but you expect to win when you play him. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And to me, Cody, that's the definition of frisky, like what you just said.
Yeah.
Like that. To me, that's perfect. But Warren, what do you think?
Like, it's like if I lose to you, I shouldn't lose, but like you play really annoyingly. Like I love that. And that's it. That's the truth. I mean, Cloud's one of these people that we saw when Madden first dropped and RPOs were good. He was like on demon mode, right? So he played incredible, and then they nerfed it a little bit, and he kind of dropped back down. So gameplay wise, it's very possible that he comes out strong and actually can compete. But yes, he is in that annoying range where he's going to just have some weird players doing weird things, and like you just don't expect it, and that can throw you off for a couple of quarters. So if you don't adjust to that type of offense, it's it'll catch up to you. But frisky 100%. We've seen Cloud win and beat good people, so I don't want to take that away from him, even though I do dump on him as much as possible.
Yeah.
Tennessee Vols are frisky here in this situation, just like they've been in the SEC for a long time. Sean's Georgia Bulldogs. Now, from a roster perspective, this will be the best roster in the league. They'll have at least year one. They'll have the best recruiting base to go off of. Probably all A's and A pluses. They have been over the past 3-4 years as dominant of a 4-year stretch as Nick Saban ever had at Alabama. To give y'all some context, like they've been absolutely insane. They bring back probably the best returning quarterback in Carson Beck. He's going to be high 90s overall, along with a dominant defense, which seems to be Kirby Smart's MO. Now, as a Madden user, again, Sean's been in and out of Better League for the past few years. It seems like he joins, plays a couple games, and then leaves, and that's kind of been his MO here, really, since Madden 20. I I don't know how much the team's going to carry him, but like I want to put him in mid. I really want to put him in mid, but it's like Georgia's so good that I almost feel like a clown for doing that. Warren, we can start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, fifth toughest place to play, number 1 ranked offense, number 2 ranked defense. Like, if you can't make this work, I don't know what to tell you. I'm with you on that, though. It's so hard for me to kind of put someone in a spot that I haven't seen play. But when you have, like, again, if Georgia is automatically going to be better than pretty much every team that they line up against, then you should technically win. So I'm okay putting. I don't want to do frisky. I just I'm gonna do mid. I'm just gonna assume that it's just not gonna work out again until proven otherwise. I think that's a fair assessment. But the team's like super loaded. Like that should be like load up the game, whatever. Ask whoever, just pick whatever play. Everything should work. So.
Yeah, I think I agree with you all. I'm maybe it's a bit of disrespect, but I was battling between bottom dwellers and mid. But it's just, I just haven't seen it yet, right? It's like, I mean, Sean had his heyday, I think, in the early years of BL. And then as competition got tighter, I think, he kind of phased out and his care got less. But from what I know of Sean, it feels like he does care maybe a little bit more about college, about Georgia football. Than he does maybe because he's a Bears fan. It's confusing. I don't like he's a Bears fan.
I'll tell you what though. No, he's a Bears fan unless they're bad, and then he's a Falcons fan unless they're bad too, and then he doesn't talk about the NFL like it's one of those situations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So who knows? But I will give him the benefit of the doubt of he did have he's won some games I think in BL that have been impressive. He had his run in BL. So I think mid's good.
Yeah, I realize I've been pretty much doing nothing but like shitting on Sean this whole time. So like I will say this is probably the most locked in. And listen, people will roll their eyes when I say locked in, but this is the most locked in he's going to be for any BL thing probably since Madden 17. Way back during the days of him being the Dallas Cowboys. I know that. Like we can talk about what his limitations are as a user, but I know he's going to give his absolute hardest, and I know he's going to be locked in when it comes to the recruiting side of it, when it comes to team building side of it. So like, this is not going to be an easy game for people. Like the roster on its own is going to make sure that that's the case. But we'll just see like if he's able to step up and like play smart from a user perspective. Like yeah, this is a team that could potentially beat a lot of people, but I just haven't seen it recently for him to do that. Will's Florida Gators. First off, I'm hurt. I heard that you took Florida in top 2, so there was no reason for you to take them in BL. Just no reason. We'll talk about this later, but it's okay. I'll be honest, I know very little about Will from a user perspective. I'll speak purely from a team perspective. This is a team, a roster that is absolutely the best that it's been in the Billy Napier era, but that's the Billy Napier era is still probably around at that Tennessee Auburn level where it's competitive. It won't get ran over by teams, but it's just not at that level that you need to compete against like the Alabamas of the world, the LSUs of the world. I don't know where to put him, so I'm going to mostly leave this up to y'all because again, I know nothing about Will. So Cody, take it away.
Yeah. Will is Miller time, correct?
No, he's Hoop God Will.
Oh,
he's in the league. He's the Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
right now.
Willie. Okay, Willie. Wait, who's Miller time? That's
Zach.
Okay, all right, that's on me. I think I would go mid above Georgia. And that is, I think, just based on, I believe he's been in top for a decent amount of time. Warren might be able to speak to that a bit more. I think he's won some good matches this year, or this year and last season or whatever, in BL. And so I would give him the benefit of the doubt, even though that Georgia roster is going to be better. I think he would be able to figure out stick skills wise, above Sean. So I would go mid above Georgia.
Florida's the only top 25 ranking they have is actually 25th in defense. So team-wise, it's not,
By the way. Crazy.
I think just because the teams above, it's not like they're and something to write home about. Willie's a potential or just a perennial playoff user. He's with this type of game, like Willie has that how you were saying before, Cody, when someone has like an annoying play style.
Yeah.
Willie doesn't have that. He has like I'll just run 4 verts and I'll just run deep chunk plays and I'll just it's like nothing phases him. And I hate playing against those people because like you're like, why would you do that? Like that's not open or that's not gonna work. And it does. And you're like, dude, like now like I'm showing you it's not there, but you do it anyway. So he's annoying in his own sense, but like because I think he's pretty good. I do think he's gonna be good at this game. He's just, he's plays like every sports game. He's just one of those guys that can pick up whatever game and be good at. I actually would put him at fringe playoffs, but since you guys both have him as mid, I would say we can put him at like frisky.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put it frisky then. Let's put it frisky.
I like that. Frisky above Tennessee, I think, is a good play. Hearing all those arguments.
You see that, Ben? I want you to take a good look at those tiers right now. Look where Florida is. Look where Georgia is.
Take a good look.
take a good look.
Last one in the SEC here.
Last one in the SEC. A team that is just now joining the SEC after spending, I think, their entire history in the Big 12. In the Southland Conference before that. That is Kings Texas Longhorns. Texas is going to be a top 5. I believe a top 5 roster in the country. Bring back Quinn Ewers, bring back 2 pretty dominant running backs, including Blue Barrett. I forget his last name. His first name is Blue, but he, we know with King's play style that those 2, again, dominant running backs are going to serve him very well. Defense solid too. Unfortunately, they lose the Byron Murphy and I keep wanting to say Montez Sweat. The other guy's name was Sweat. I'm forgetting a lot of names, y'all. This is what happens when I speak off the cuff. But they lost 2 dominant D tackles, but the rest of their defense projects to be better than it was last year. So I ask you all again, with a roster that can compete with the Alabamas and LSUs and Georgias, and with King being King, how does he step up? How does he fare in this SEC?
Yeah,
Warren, we can start with you.
Oh yeah.
No, Cody. Yeah. No, you got it. Cody,
So I have one question first. And maybe this is going to be indicative of how we tier me later, but how many people, like, can only a certain amount of people from a conference make the playoffs?
Well, I mean, there's no hard limit. Like, it's based on the rankings. So, like, the conference champion makes it, will be a top 4 seed, and then the rest of it's being based on rankings. So, like, if you have like a 12-0 Alabama, and then like LSU, Tennessee, South Carolina all go 10-2. Like, it's
they could make it. Okay.
They could all make it. Yeah. Again, we've never seen a 12-team playoff in real life.
Yeah.
Like, we've never seen one. So like, we're kind of going off faith here, but yeah, there's no hard limit.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, like, knowing that, hearing that, for me personally, I think King is a fringe playoff above the Gamecocks. I just think, like, if we look at the way King plays Madden, like, he is one of the more annoying people to play, right? Like, it'll be 3rd and 15, he'll run the ball and he's gonna pick up a first down. And then so like when you when you play him on 3rd and 15, it's like, you're like, oh, well, he might run it, so I need to play, like, I can't play dime because then he's going to pick up a first down, so I need to play nickel, and then he ends up, like, hitting a dot. But then, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say King's, like, I mean, King I think is a good user in his own respect, but, like, he might also throw, a really bad pick. But I think that is telling of, like, fringe playoffs and, like, just having a stout college program, having a stout team like Texas. I think King is going to be a very frustrating user to play, which puts him right there in fringe for me.
Yeah, you explained it perfectly. King's like one of those people that, like, he doesn't even know what he's doing. So, like, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I remember playing him like a couple of seasons ago, and he just ran stretch every single play, and like since that day I've hated him. I also thought he was like a 12-year-old child, but he's apparently an adult, which is really really cool to know. He probably is, you know, how, like Jay Cutler was always like the DGAF guy, right? That's like King, where he just doesn't give a you know what. Like he just does his own thing, doesn't show up to any scheduled games, have some sims, beat some good people, lose to some random people, have like super inconsistent like gameplay, scheduling, and probably as a human. Does that translate to football success? Maybe. Texas as a team is, you know, they're 91 overall offense. They're, you know, one of the best teams, like top 10 or pretty much like top 5 in every category. So I think it's in between fringe playoffs and frisky because he very well, if you know, to quote Connor, if he's locked in, sure he can make the playoffs, but he also can be someone that's just like has like 40 sim games and doesn't show up, you know, in chat for 2 months. So I have a hard time putting someone in the playoff tier if that might not, you know, be there.
One structural, and I should have mentioned this with Cloud with his RPOs, but I'll mention it now. One structural difference between college football gameplay and NFL gameplay is that in college football, the hash marks are a lot wider. The ball can be placed like a lot wider on the field. So you have these situations where, like, you know, there could potentially be all sorts of space available to you on one side of the field or another to work with, like that you just never see in a Madden game. And I think Cloud's guy could benefit from that, and I think King's also a guy could benefit from that based on the types of schemes they run. Now we'll see. I mean, obviously people's schemes are going to change depending on a roster and depending on like what's available to them in NCAA. Like like Cam wants to run the triple option, for example, which he obviously doesn't do in Madden, so that's an example of that. But yeah, King, I would honestly put him in playoff contender, to be honest with you. That's not to, like, a lot of that is giving respect to the Texas roster, but like I see no reason in 2024 why he can't like solidify himself in his own tier in third place behind Dan and Warren. Like I just don't think the South Carolina roster's yet, and I think the King Allen, like I think that's close enough where I think having like a way superior roster will carry him over Allen, so I'd put him in playoff contender personally.
Yeah.
That's the SEC.
That's the SEC, boys.
Because I know we gave you your short shrift a little bit during the team reveal show, but that's the SEC. And we'll move on to the Big 12. We'll move on to the Big 12 since that was third. And Cody, it's your Cincinnati Bearcats. Now,
Cincinnati. Okay, yep.
Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, just to give everyone context, I did mention the team reveal show. I mentioned it again. Scott Satterfield was an atrocious, just hell tier hire.
Yes, it sure was. It sure was.
He has done a lot to ruin what was a incredible, you know, G5 quality roster that Luke Fickell was able to build before him. This is not a great 2024 roster, but Cody's Cody. Cody's a dog, and I think he'll be able to, you know, maximize whatever talent he does have, which I don't know what that really looks like. I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about Cincinnati other than that they're not great right now, but I would say, I mean, in the Big 12, it's tough because, like, who's the clear favorite? Like, who's got the user and team combo to really, like, scare you, other than maybe Hero? So I would say fringe playoffs. I would say fringe playoffs for Cody, based purely on 2024. And again, you can expect that tier to climb as he's able to get his recruiting classes in. But Warren, what do you think? And then we'll have Cody talk about himself.
Man, Ohio stinks. Cincinnati is like, that team's gonna be so rough, Cody. Like you're gonna have to pull some things out of your behind to make things work. I do think you play better when you're having fun, and I think you're gonna have fun, and that's gonna attribute to kind of you know, your success. And the recruiting's gonna be tough. The game's gonna be tough. You know, you're gonna again go against, you know, Georgia or one of these teams that has a you know all 95s everywhere, and you're gonna have 80s. And your guys are not going to get off the press. And it's like, can you figure out schematically how to, you know, take advantage of, you know, when your players are outmatched? And I think you do have that ability. So, yeah, I think you're kind of where Allen is, you know, team-wise, where it's like you're going to need some help, but you're not in as tough of a conference. So I think Connor was kind of right on the fringe playoffs. So I think you and Allen have those similarities kind of with that.
I'll say real quick, Cody, before we get to you, like with, you know, Dan, Alabama, Warren, LSU, arguably King, Texas, where there's like the combination of user and team, like that doesn't really exist in the Big 12 right now. Like, you know, Heroes like the clear best user, but like Arizona, you know, is a good roster, but like it's only I think 87 overall. It's not dominant. So like there's no roster that on paper like Cincinnati will get absolutely destroyed by. But yeah, Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say that's when for me when I look at the Big 12, right? It's you've got Gamble, Hero, Justin, Connor, Alex, Tim, Grid, right? I think of all those, the people that for me are like could give me, some troubles based on roster, based on what I know of just like stick skills, would be Hero, Justin, Connor, Alex. And so, but like, if I were to win even half of 2 of those 4 games, I'm sitting in a pretty good position. And so I would agree with you all that I would go fringe playoffs. I think, as we add these fringe playoffs, I think Cincinnati's probably at the bottom. I wouldn't disagree if anyone wanted to put me at the top of Frisky or somewhere in the middle of Frisky. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but I think I think the Bearcats are a decent roster. It's it's definitely not it's not great. We've got Brendan Sorsby, transfer from Indiana, coming in. I think is probably going to be the starter for the Bearcats. Corey Kiner still coming in as a junior running back, had a really good year last year. And the defense feels like it's always strong for the Bearcats. So I would agree with you all. I think it's probably the lowest tier fringe playoffs. I don't know that we're gonna. I mean, we'll see when we get in here. I don't know that we're gonna put anyone above me. But yeah. It's gonna be a tall order.
I mean, Cody, I would genuinely, season 1, I would genuinely give you a better chance of making the playoffs than I would Allen, and some of that's based on, some of that's based on conference competition, some of that's based on like the fact that we just don't have like a Dan or a Warren in our conference. But
that's fair.
I think I might put you above the Gamecocks, but not necessarily above Texas. All right, I blanked out there for a second. Gamble's Colorado Buffaloes. Now, this is news to me. Apparently, Colorado's a top 15 team in the country. I didn't realize that, when they went 4-8, when they got gashed by everyone defensively. I did not realize that then translated to a top 15 roster. But EA seems to think so. I know Dion thinks so, and Gamble benefits from it. You've seen, Gamble's Detroit Lions not do a lot in Madden, but he has a roster advantage over some guys. So I don't know. I'm talking myself, like I'm trying to talk myself out of bottom feeder, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna jump in here, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but yeah, I agree. I think it's a bottom dweller. I will say this: I will give Gamble the benefit of the doubt, and put him above Payne. Just because he's been playing, right? He's in, I think, multiple Madden leagues. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and put him above Auburn. The college, devs decided to bless that team. So as long as you have, I think, a little bit of stick skills, you should be able to get it done. But it's a bottom dog for me.
Yeah, Colorado coming in at 87 overall. 16th on the team rankings, but there's literally like 187 overall teams, but they're just put there first just for the aesthetics. This is bottom dweller. I don't think it's, there's no playoff chance. There's no Frisky chance. He can win a game here and there, but unless Gamble had like Bama or one of these like dog teams, Colorado's good for now, but next season, when they're losing, probably their 2 best players, then they're going to be much worse. So it's not pretty. Yeah.
Look forward to seeing how he uses Travis Hunter on offense, knowing what he likes to do with his number 1 receivers. That we might see him break some records. It's very possible. Heroes, Arizona Wildcats. Again, this is another situation where they got their favorite team. Arizona shocked everyone last year. Went 1-3 to start the year, and then all it took was for their starting quarterback to get hurt, and then Noah Fifita steps in, who ended up being way better than the original starter, Jaden Delora. The Noah Fifita to McMillan, wide receiver McMillan connection was one of the most lethal in all of college football. Both of them are brought back for this season. Arizona, as a whole, projects far better than you would have said they would a year ago at this point. And Hero has probably, with respect to Cody, he's probably been the most consistent user of the past couple cycles, I would say, like pretty easily within this conference. So it's hard not to put him at the very least in a playoff race, and I might borderline say title contender. It depends on where the roster is. I need to take a better look at that roster, but he's like his floor, I would say, is playoff race because there's no reason why he shouldn't win this conference year one.
Warren, all you.
Yeah, I think you're right on that aspect. It's I'm still bitter about Braxton Berrios. So I have a hard time giving someone credit. Yeah, Arizona falls into that 87 overall range. Like I mentioned before, there's a ton of these teams. So recruiting should be, you should get some decent options, on the West Coast. And what was neat, how they mentioned was quarterbacks. A quarterback from Florida is probably gonna be different from a quarterback from California. So that's, think about recruiting and the type of players that we're all gonna get. Does it fit your play style? But Hero's always that guy who's gonna come in and he's gonna compete. I think when he joined back into Madden and kind of had a rough start with the Eagles, even though it wasn't his team, he kind of lit a fire under him, and he's been playing well. So we kind of expect big things from him. That's kind of the norm. It's will his game translate to NCAA or to college football? We don't know. We'll find out. But he should be in the playoffs, 100%.
Yeah,
He absolutely will.
Yeah, I think I would go. I'd put him in title contender. I'm looking at teams. I'm looking at users here. I've got the from the selection show all pulled up, and I think we Heroes do his respect to, I think he's going to be behind Dan and Warren in the title contender, but I do think he deserves being up there. He's definitely in the playoff race, and it's like, is he not? And I think he's due to be put up there.
Justin's Wisconsin Badgers have been in the middle of an identity shift under Luke Fickell. They went from, one of the most frankly boring, just ground and pound and punt the ball offenses that there's ever been to Luke Fickell came in and immediately tried to institute an air raid. They did not have the personnel to do it year one, and you saw that in the results. I don't know if they have the personnel to do it year two, but I say that to say that from a roster perspective, Justin finds himself with a bit of a tweener situation where some of the recruits were recruited to run the Paul Chris system, and some of them are recruited to run the Luke Fickell system, and he's going to need to figure out what he wants to do with that because he could go really two different directions. But the roster as a whole is solid, decent. It's above Cincinnati and below Arizona, I would say, if we're talking about the two teams we talked about so far. I would put I'm going to give him his respect and say frisky playoff. Although I'm going back and forth between that and just frisky. I don't know.
I'm gonna chime in first because maybe it's my Justin disrespect, but I was thinking for me, I was thinking mid above Georgia.
Ooh.
Love it.
Is that where you're feeling as well, Warren?
No, I just love that he's disrespecting someone. Go ahead, Cody. You finish that thought.
No,
it's a good one.
No, it was just Justin's just confusing to me, right? I think whenever you play him, you never know what's gonna happen, right? I just feel like it's not like I feel like he doesn't even have a plan, right? When he goes into a game, he's just kind of It's not like he's picking coach suggestions, but he's just like flipping. He's rolling a Dungeons and Dragons die and picking a play, from that. And so for me, in a game that feels like it's going to be pretty complex, and you're going to have to recruit, and you're going to have to do all this, and I just feel like I don't know. I just want to see him prove it, and he hasn't proved it in Madden necessarily. I mean, he's had a couple of crazy runs TTE, but beside of that, it's like, in Madden we would call him frisky probably, right? And so what about this Wisconsin team makes you feel like they're frisky? So to me, that's mid.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
That is awesome. It's funny, Cody, because I share similar thoughts, not just on that, on the Justin thing, but like certain players, you play them enough where you kind of know what they're doing, or you know they don't know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
you know you can't predict what they're doing because they don't even know what's happening. So it's like this whole thing. Wisconsin 87 overall. They're one of those, again, they're ranked number 18. So it's not like they're going to match up against a team that's probably going to be the same, if not better, or potentially worse half the time. It's between mid and frisky with Justin. Again, he doesn't come across as like, oh, this guy's a good, like Madden player or whatever player or whatever. Like, that doesn't seem to be the deal. So I have a hard time, being like, oh, like he would beat Willie. I don't think that's a thing if Willie's playing, and kind of at that point where I'm looking at these teams and saying, okay, from the top, it should be a no contest. Like that, there's no chance. But then as you move down, you kind of put him. I think you put him in. I'm okay with mid, honestly. I'm okay with frisky. Connor, if you want to decide that one, that's cool.
I'd say let's do bottom of frisky for Justin. We can do below Florida, below Tennessee.
Yeah,
I don't think he's...
I like that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
I think we have to give him a little bit of respect as a user and not put him with Sean necessarily.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Shout out Justin, man. He'll watch this back and probably feel some type of way. But this is, you can prove it on the field. That's the great thing about this is in about a month you can prove it on the field. So we'll see what happens. My Utah Utes, I have very little to say other than this was my number 2 team. Utah, I think, is a very slept on, very underrated roster, and you saw that. It's a top 10 roster, I believe, in the game, as well as a top 15 home field advantage. Very physical team, a team that has worn a lot of teams out in the Pac-12, just beating them over the head with a shovel damn near. That's how they USC every time they play. Matt, if you're listening, but I like the fit. I like Utah a lot, and I'm excited to use them. And I will not talk about myself as a user. It's been rough this cycle, I'll say that. But Cody, you can start with my Utah Utes.
Yeah, I admittedly, I don't know a ton about this roster. But knowing you, and just knowing the passion I think that you have for college football, I mean, I would just go ahead and say it's a darn shame that you didn't get the Florida Gators. I will forever hate Willie for that, but it is what it is. But unless he wins me a big bet, because #BozBets, #advertisement. Anyways, no, I think for you, I would go. For me, I think you're the top of frisky. For me personally, I think that roster's better than all the ones that we're looking at here. I think your user skills, and your passion probably lead the top of this group. And so for me, I would say top of frisky.
Yeah, Willie broke one of the unwritten rules. When this game was announced, it was known. No one touches Florida. No one touches Georgia. Just let it happen, right? It wasn't even a thought. It's like one of those things where you're just like, hey, let it happen. And Willie came in and he had other plans. So I think Willie is a fan. He kind of knows a bit about the team. So if it is going to someone, yeah, at least and Willie's a good dude. So I do think Connor, like schema, if you got Florida, I would rank you lower than if you got Utah. And what I mean by that is being a Gator fan, you might be tied to trying to do certain things with the team because you're so invested in the team itself. And you look at Utah, and Utah's like one of the worst states possible, right? But the team's good. It's 88 overall, right? They're 10th, the 18th hardest place to play, which is insane because I don't even know I don't know why, but the 11th best offense, the 10th best defense. So the team's good. Connor, you play so where it's weird where if you're on, you're on. You can go be 2-7 or you can be 7-2, and nothing's shocking to me. I do think you're gonna, like Cody said, pour your heart and soul into everything, and really round out your team and do the best you can with that. And it's cool because the conference kind of aligns for you to kind of be one of those frisky types of teams to potentially be annoying and potentially make a playoff run, or if not, like still do big things with Utah. Like that's still a cool thing. So when the cycle's over, and we're into next next year or whatever, you can look back and be like, I did pretty cool things with Utah because no one else probably would.
Yeah.
I know. I look forward to Utah. It's I won't talk about myself too much, but on paper, it's a very good fit in terms of what I generally like to do in these football games, and yeah, pretty much. And look, yeah, they run some damn good end arounds in Utah, but no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this Big 12. A lot of brothers in here, a lot of dogs, and I hope it can compete because I made the playoffs the first 2 years in Madden 24, and since then, I don't think I've won more than like 5 games in a season. Like, it's been really, really ugly for me this cycle. So, from like a pride perspective too, I'm just hoping I can, get off to a better start and truly be a competitor within the Big 12. But yeah, that's my Utah Utes. Looks like top of Frisky, fine by me. I don't think I've done enough to deserve fringe playoff necessarily, but top of Frisky's fine by me. Next up is Alex's Illinois. Now this is probably the worst. I'd say they're below Cincinnati. I'd say they're probably the worst roster in the Big 12. Obviously, we'll see when the ratings come out. It's gonna be real close between those two. But Alex has been, I feel like I'm always like super negative on Alex. You got to give him his credit and say he's been a very like consistently good user within the NFC in the regular season. But he's been very consistently good, and I think that I don't know. I'm curious to see how his play style lines up with NCAA, especially with an offensive line that, from all reports, is not good to start off for this Illinois team. I worry about his cover 3 bombs holding up in that situation, but see what Alex can do. And again, he got his favorite team, and I look forward to that. But I would probably put him. He's somewhere in that Frisky range too. I would say like the roster really holds him back here, but I'd say he's somewhere in Frisky, maybe like between me and Will, or you could say above me. Either way.
Yeah, so maybe Warren is going to be the decider on this, because I actually was thinking bottom of Frisky just based on the roster. Like you said, it's going to be, between looking at all these. I mean, in terms of the Big 12, it's going to be between me and him who has the worst roster, and I would assume it's going to be him. But then again, if I had a worse roster, we put me in fringe playoffs. So maybe that's a bit disrespectful. I'm looking. I'm evaluating things as I'm talking. Maybe I could be convinced to go below Willie, and like he's in the middle. He's above Justin, above Cloud, right in the middle of Frisky. But I'll let Warren give his take.
Cody, first of all, what are you drinking?
Oh, just a little store pick, Sazerac rye.
Nice, I like to hear it. I have so much like bourbon in my house because like that was the thing. I was a bourbon guy.
Yeah, send it
over.
over.
That's all I got.
Yeah, send it over.
Dude, I'm literally have to do something. It's crazy. I have I'm doing I have Jack Daniels, the like the whatever the cinnamon one is. It's been in my freezer forever, and I was like, let me just kill it. But yeah, Alex is this team stinks. Right? I had to look up where again Illinois is on a map because it's one of those places I never want to go. He's gonna have to set his coach to have a pipeline somewhere unique, right? Maybe somewhere a little different because you're not gonna get recruits, in Florida, Georgia, wherever. You're not gonna get recruits in California. He's gonna have to set his coach to be recruiting like somewhere random that's like low key good. So outside of having a bunch of offensive linemen, like these skill positions might be brutal for him. I actually agree. As you're talking, Cody, like. I think he's in that Frisky tier, and if I put him one-on-one against Justin, it's Alex every time. I think 8 or 9 out of 10 times. He's on that. He's I don't say on the cloud level, but like on that like unpredictable. If he had a better team, he'd be fringe playoffs. But he doesn't. Illinois could be horrific. And if the game plays the way we might think it's going to play, again, if you're Dan and you play Illinois and you run 2-man under and put your controller down, do you win?
Yeah.
That's what we don't know.
Yeah.
You do
Can
not.
you scheme around that?
Yeah.
And
So-
if there's one thing I don't want to say scheme wise that Alex can yes cover 3 bombs all day, but he has shown like the ability to try different things and do different things offensively. So I do think he has it in him to kind of out kick this Frisky tag.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is I think maybe he's between Cloud and Justin. Justin's the bottom in the Frisky. Then we go Alex, and then we go Cloud, and then that's based on skill and team.
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes some sense. I like that.
Yeah.
Tim's TCU Horned Frogs. Tim as a user, for a little bit, Madden 23 was a legit contender. He made a couple divisional rounds, almost beat Tahuti that one time to make it to a conference championship game. Unfortunately, through. I won't get into it. The pick was bad, ladies and gentlemen. You've all seen it on Bear League Network. But TCU as a program, they made the national championship 2 years ago. That has no bearing. That is no reflection on how good this 2024 TCU team is. But that is something that they've done recently. This is like in real life a perennial 7-8 win team. Like that is just kind of what this roster screams to me. It is barely above average as far as this within the Big 12. I would say it's probably right at average, to be honest with you. So from a team perspective, better than some, worse than others. He'll never get blown off the field from that perspective, nor will he ever have the super clear roster advantage. I think this is just straight up mid. I think that's where I would put TCU. I'd put him above Sean because I trust Tim as a user more than I trust Sean, and that's purely from having had more exposure to Tim recently, and the fact that Tim has given guys trouble at times. Made a couple of legitimate runs. Really have nothing else to say other than that. I think he's mid. Cody, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And this is not any disrespect to Tim. To keep this short, but I just agree. I think it's mid. I think it's a decent roster. And he's above, if we're going to put him in mid, he's above Sean.
I was going to put him under bottom dweller, but since you guys are 2 for mid, I'm fine with that. I remember watching Tim beat Hero. Sorry, Benny's. This is the zoomy time before bed where everyone needs to run around in the basement under my feet and rip apart everything. I saw Tim beat Hero just by running checkdowns the entire game. I think he's running back at 30 catches in the game or whatever. So he's got it in him to be randomly annoying. But I think with the team, you're at match pretty much every game you're going in being TCU, and then also on top of that not being the best user. Again, this is all subject to change. We don't know how the game's going to play. We don't know who's just been autopiloting Madden. Maybe Tim comes in and he's a dog. Maybe he's not. But for right now, mid, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I have no clue how his play style is going to transition to NCAA. We'll find out with a lot of these guys. There might be a lot of shocks. Maybe these tiers will look kind of dumb in a couple months, but we're going off what we got right now. Grids, Texas A&M Aggies. I was saying that they have pretty easily, I think, within this conference, the most long-term recruiting potential. This is has potential to be a true recruiting powerhouse. That has nothing to do with their 2024 roster, unfortunately. They're in the middle of a coaching change. Jimbo Fisher is out. Mike Elko's in from Duke, and they obviously, have the subsequent transfer portal exodus, as a lot of the Jimbo Fisher guys leave. Although they are still, I think, 87 overall, which surprised me a little bit. So they still have one of the better rosters in this Big 12. Grid. Has Grid won more than 2 games since he's joined the league? That's a serious question. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, I was about to say I think Warren takes the lead here because I just I literally just pulled up the the Neon page to see like what's Grid doing this year, and he's 0-7, but I don't know if that's a bunch of forced losses or if he's played. I don't know much about Grid.
Yeah.
Grid elite. So Grid's like the grandpa who finds out about technology and he won't stop. You know how Jen and I, we were out to breakfast last weekend, and we're sitting at the table, and I look over at the table next to us. We see a couple, old man, old woman in their 70s. The dude's eating. The woman has an iPad open, watching a TV show, and all that talk of these kids can't put their devices down and all this stuff. Okay, relax. It's not just young younger generation, it's everybody. So Grid, he found out about AI. He makes really cool pictures. He is like someone you want in the league, and like one of those like unsung heroes type of guys that like constantly like are in the chats or in the discords or in the Twitches and plays their games, and elite at that gameplay wise. No, right? Let's just be real. A&M somehow has the toughest pace to play. So unless home field advantage, like your players just lose their limbs, it's going to be tough for Grid to kind of to get out of that bottom tier. Great guy, but just it's if he had a better team, I'd bump him up. But it's just A&M is like you said, Connor. It's it's like mid. It's like 14th best roster. Again, these are all within 1 or 2 overalls of each other, but still, it's not like you have that team advantage over anyone you're playing, really.
For me, I would say I would put him. Yeah. So hearing that, for me, I'd put him middle bottom dollar. I'd give Gamble the edge with that Colorado roster, and just knowing, for me personally, knowing more about Gamble, and then with Payne being lower than him with that Auburn roster and just not playing in a while.
Yeah, I mean, this is in gradients. It's all like very relative, but I do think Gamble's probably better than Grid based on what I've seen. I don't know. It's really tough to say. Like, once again, to a certain point,
I think it's safe. Yeah, I think it's safe to say for this.
It's a little bit better. We are two conferences in, 2 to go. We are halfway through, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I have not shouted out one time who's in the chat, so let me do this. We got, of course, Cody checking in, myself. We got King, Dan, Lucky, Hero, Cam. Both Kings are in here. Warren checking in, and Monk, aka Troy. Thank you all so much. And make sure to keep giving your takes. Make sure to keep, giving your thoughts in chat as we go here, because we are an hour and 10 minutes in, and we're only halfway done. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a long one. Move on now to the Big Ten, and a man who, I mean, we were talking about, you're talking about with me, guys who are going to be very passionate, who are going to, pour their heart and soul into this game. Cam's Michigan Wolverines. He has been talking cash shit. He wanted that home and home with Warren, right? He wanted to prove himself. He's saying that he's a contender in the Big Ten. He's saying that this option offense is going to be unstoppable. And you know what? For Cam's sake, I hope it is. I certainly hope it is. But Michigan, obviously not quite at the level it was at the late Harbaugh era, with a bit of a transfer exodus, as well as, a lot of guys going to the draft, but still top 10 roster in the country, one of the top ones in the Big Ten as well. And Cam, as a user, I see the vision in terms of like him potentially being way better at NCAA than he is at Madden, but seeing the vision and then that in reality are two different things. So we'll see. But Warren, starting with you on this, what do you think about Cam's Michigan Wolverines?
First of all, I just want to say congratulations to Cam for taking all that cap space throughout 7 seasons of Madden into his pockets. Really hope he buys something really cool. I think Cam's one of those dudes I want to succeed so bad, because when this game came out, we're judging people based on how they play Madden. We judge them based on, again, completely different game. None of us have ran one play yet. Right? Michigan as a team, 90 overall, right? 88, I think they're top 10 pretty much everything outside of their 16th and toughest places to play. But when we announced scheduling our home and homes or whatever it is, I didn't reach out to anybody, and 2 people hit me up, and Cam was one of them. And to me, that's awesome that he's I want the smoke, I want that. He's one of the guys I want to see him succeed in NCAA, because we have people who, again, have been playing Madden but just love college football, and maybe if they instead of just logging in twice a week playing their game and just getting off, they're actually spending the time. And I think if Cam does that, I think he can be borderline frisky. It's a good roster. It's a good team. So I want him to do well. I honestly do. And as shitty as I can be towards people, he's one of the dudes I actually want to succeed, in that sense.
Sorry about that. I literally just got back, so I'm going to let you guys, I had to, have a quick comment real quick. I'll let you guys take the rest of this.
Yeah, totally. So we've been talking about Michigan. Warren's given Cam a lot of respect for scheduling him, and thinks that he potentially be a dog in NCAA. And I don't disagree. Again, like I said, Cam's been very vocal about like the passion he has for college football, which I love that. We're cut from the same cloth in that regard. I think that he, over the course of the cycle, I think he could develop this Michigan team into a really dangerous one, depending on what he does with recruiting, what he, how he chooses kind of like make the team into his own image. I don't know how this roster lines up with like, he's been hyping up the option schemes. He's been, saying he's going to have a very weird offense. He's not the only guy to say that, but he's been kind of the loudest about it. So I am curious about that, but I would put him within this Big Ten, which I'm going to pull up real quick because I just clicked off of it. My fault. I would say, I'd say, top of Frisky, maybe? I'd say it's above me, honestly. Michigan's a really good roster. I'd say top of Frisky.
I would think Alex is still above him, regardless of roster, just because he kind of owns him in recent memory.
Okay, so bottom of Frisky then. All right, fine with it.
Above, yeah, I think we can move Alex up a little bit. Honestly, it's hard that frisky. These frisky guys are gonna be tough, man. Like you don't want to go into
crowded too. It's hard to.
You don't want to see that on your schedule. You don't want to be like, oh no, I got a frisky team next week because these guys are gonna come in hot. They're gonna come in ready to play. they're like. I don't want to schedule any of them, honestly. Like, get them out of here. These guys are gonna come in and cause problems.
We don't quite have the talent of some of you guys, but we want the smoke, damn it.
Yeah.
Cody, you can kind of break the tie here. Where do you think he belongs?
I'm gonna go second in Frisky for me. Above Willie, above Cloud, above Alex, above Justin, but below you. That I think that feels good for me right now.
We're splitting hairs, honestly, with a lot of this. We really are, and it's really, I mean, it's really cool. I love Frisky tier. This is my favorite tier.
We're trying to rank people in tiers, and no one's taken a snap in this game yet. So like some of it's gonna be a little arbitrary, but we move. I'm okay with Cam there. Agenda's Penn State. I was about to say Penn State Wolverines. That'd be sacrilegious. Agenda's Penn State Nittany Lions, ladies and gentlemen. Again, a top tier place to play is Beaver Stadium.
Is it
Agenda? Go ahead.
No, I was just joking and said, is it?
Agenda has been honestly better than I expected when he joined the league, and after his first couple seasons, like he's really kind of solidified himself as a fringe conference contender within the NFC. Now, some of you could argue how impressive is that really, but he has established himself as that. He's made, I believe, a conference championship, couple other divisional round games. I would say Agenda with Penn State. I mean, does he also go in Frisky? Like, it's getting really crowded.
The Frisky tier is so toxic right now.
No, honestly, no. I think I'm putting Agenda like bottom of playoff contender, like bottom. But I think that's where I put him. I think he's above me, above Cam, etc. I think he's proven that much over the last few seasons. Warren, what do you think?
I'm probably the biggest Agenda hater in the league. Just because, like, I put him in C tier originally, and then he was talking trash about how he did better. The dude runs 4 verts every play and throws for 8 million yards, and like, it's like, relax, okay? You're playing Gamble, you're playing Tim. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Penn State as a team, like they're pretty much top 10 in every category. It's a good team. I know they got some good talent. He should, in all honesty, be a fringe playoff team. But again, I am a hater, so I'm not going to make that decision.
I think Cody's made his decision for us here. I like where he's put Penn State. And he's not wrong either. He's absolutely not wrong.
No, I was just putting this here just for my own sake, but yeah, I don't know, you guys might have to talk. Like, for me personally, I was gonna go top of mid.
Top of mid?
Yeah, so that's you might have to talk
This
me.
is why I love you, Cody.
Yeah,
This is why I love you.
yeah, you might have to talk me out of it. But here's the thing: is like, is Agenda beat me like in week 2 of BL? So like that's the disrespect that I'm giving right now. Like I'm fully aware of it, but it's like I was getting beat by 4 verts where he just like threw it to Jamar Chase in triple coverage and he one hand caught it. Like he like, so for me it's top and mid, and you guys can tell me where else to put this because I know I'm wrong.
Look, I'm the king of getting eye emoji'd for random week 1 through 7 games, right? I just lost a king and I got eye emoji'd, and I'm like, I woke up, I checked the scores tab. I'm like, you guys suck. Like, it's you guys, like, the league makes it where you have to be like 100% locked in like at all times, otherwise you're a piece of shit, right? So like, is this the downfall? Is this? Like, relax. Yeah. So. Cody, I definitely appreciate you taking a stand on Agenda. I think skill-wise, like if I said, okay, him versus Justin, I would expect him to beat Justin, right? Penn State's a little bit better of a team. I do think, again, I don't want to clock the Frisky here because we don't want to give anyone respect, but like, I don't know what else to do.
Well, I think we have to put him in Frisky, unfortunately, because Cody's saying mid, I'm saying fringe playoffs, so like we kind of have to put him in Frisky. Yeah.
Dude, Frisky tier is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Is he at the top of Frisky? If you're saying fringe, I'm saying mid, and then Warren's saying Frisky.
Well, we can't go based off of Madden's success. We can't. We have to go off of play style and how we think it's going to translate. Yeah.
Like, I would put him right there with me as a user, which, I mean, that's kind of funny because he's been way more successful this year than I have, but like in terms of, because I've played him like 8-9 times, like I would say we're like deadlock in terms of our user skill.
Right now, you guys both get 10-hour early release. You play him week 1. Who wins?
So you're saying I got 10 hours to figure out my scheme?
Yeah.
No, you both are first game. You're just you're
first game. So my
right now
versus
yes.
I think I would have a better ability to adapt to different.
Cody, you're such a gambler.
Quicker than he would.
All right, so you're first. There you go.
I would say myself.
It's settled.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. I'm fine with it. I'm gonna move him down 1 and based on the Michigan roster with Cam.
We just went through all that for you to jump.
Yeah, dude. I'm in charge here.
Let's go.
Cody, if you could also put him below Florida, because go Gators.
Yeah, go Gators. Yeah, suck that, dude.
Honestly, he hasn't earned the respect. I think Cloud's no.
Yeah, no, I think this is fine. I think right in the middle is fine. I think we actually landed right in the middle perfectly.
Steel's Oregon Ducks. Now, I have been very vocal. This is my clear top contender out of the Big Ten to begin. Oregon has the best roster. They have like a top 3, top 4 roster in the game. I think Steel, is he like in a vacuum the best user? Probably not. But I think when you combine, I think I'm just gonna let Warren go in a second. But yeah, I would put him probably top of playoff contender. But Warren, I think you might have different thoughts, so go ahead.
And I don't know how to start any sentence without just absolutely burying him. Oregon's a really good team, right? They're 94 overall offense, 90 overall defense. So they're in that Georgia range of teams. So by default, we can't put them lower than mid. Steel stinks. Like at the game, he stinks.
The fact
he
that
just
we're
complains
talking
a
about
lot.
lower than mid is so, okay.
Like, okay. I'm not going to be frisky. Like, can Steel be a playoff team? Absolutely. Right? 100% with Oregon, he can. It's just, we've seen so many players, like, have so many different ranges of outcome, over the course of, Madden, where one season someone's, Steel was like a playoff contender. He's, like, doing good, and then he gets blown out in the first game of the playoffs, and then the next season he doesn't even make it. So he, to me, I think is in that fringe range. If you wanted to put him in playoff, I completely understand. But again, the team's really good.
Yeah, I'm putting me putting him playoff is out of respect to the team more than anything else. Like Oregon, I mean, the combination of user team, like, there's no excuse for him not to make the playoffs in the Big Ten, and that's why I'm putting him playoffs.
Someone has to make the playoffs, so we have to put some people in this
Yeah.
playoff race. Everyone's not frisky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think for me that's exactly it. Like this team is good. Steele, I think knows enough about the sticks to put him in the playoff race. When you look at this division specifically, I think I put him at the top. I think maybe Cam, maybe Dahudi could shock us. Maybe Lucky could shock us. But I think just looking at roster and stick skills, I think I think he's our first one in playoff race.
Yeah, that feels good to me. Here's a person who I have no clue how to tier here. Hootie's Minnesota Golden Gophers. I mean, I think everyone's very scared of the idea of playing Hootie in this game. Like, he should be able to scheme his way to a lot of like very scary things. Minnesota stinks. Like, that roster is it's worse than Boise State. Yeah, it's probably the worst. Not probably. It is the worst here in this conference. And from a 2024 perspective, like, how much can you scheme your way around just having a dog shit roster on both sides of the ball, especially on defense? Like, I don't know how he's going to stop half these teams. Like, it feels really disrespectful to put him in frisky, but I don't see how he makes the playoffs with that roster. So it's like, I feel like we have to put him frisky.
Yeah, I'll let Warren be the kind of maybe the one that grounds us here, but for me, and maybe it's me leaning too far in Madden and being like, I've seen Dahudi take, I don't know, some random 68 overall, 93 speed quarterback and have success with him. For me, I would put him below Steele in playoff race. But again, that might just be me respecting his game too much compared to how bad that roster is.
Yeah, if I can just say, like, I don't doubt he'll be able to score. Like, he'll be able to scheme his way to like maximizing that offense. I don't know how he's stopping anyone. That's more of like my worry with that roster. But yeah, Warren, go ahead.
I hate playing Dahudi more than anyone, probably on planet Earth. I've also scheduled a home and home with him, so I'm gonna account for 2 of his losses. So the playoff race might be out for him.
Let's go, dude.
We see how he plays, and we're all like, wow, he's gonna do crazy things. The dude just snaps the ball and presses A, and then his receiver gets perfect blocking. So let's not act like he's doing anything crazy. Just because he does it in Madden doesn't mean it's just he's gonna run this crazy off. When we've seen him try to pass the ball, he throws picks all day, right? We're all going to be privy to the same types of schemes and the same types of things that work. Madden has a very OP RPO system. I think the NCAA should kind of have it a little scaled back. Can Dahudi make the playoffs? Again, Cody, it is what it is. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? Can he make the playoffs? Absolutely. Do I want him to make the playoffs? Absolutely not. I'm sick of playing him in the playoffs, round 1 every season of my life. It is the worst experience I've ever had playing a game because he is going to do the same things. You know it's coming. I can have 30 guys manned up on the RPO guy. It doesn't matter. They're not going to cover it. The team stinks. Minnesota's awful. Minnesota's cold. They have underground tunnels because it's so cold there. Just the whole experience is bad. So LSU does not look forward to playing there, but we will. I think, in all honesty, if you want to put him between playoff race and frisky, I do think he can make the playoffs, right? Fringe is good because the team stinks, but he is a good user. At the end of the day, it is what it is. He can play, right? Like, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think he has that.
Yeah.
I think bottom of Fringe.
He has that respect, right?
I think bottom of Fringe.
Look at Fringe. Fringe is like outside of King. It's like good players with bad rosters.
Yeah.
And it's up to them to either take that step up or to take that step down and go into risky.
Yeah. Bottom of Fringe. Yeah. 100%.
And I'm thrown for a loop here by some of the takes about Hootie. That has not been my experience playing him, but I trust that He played him like 10 times more than I have, so I got you.
No, I gave him the respect at the end. It's all in love. That's what it is. He's the hardest person to write GG after you play him because you literally like lost half your head of hair and you just like, have like 2 broken monitors and you're like, yeah, good game, dude.
That's USC Trojans. I would call them all offense, no defense, but EA seems to think they have a top 25 defense, so I don't know what's going on with some of these ratings. That's the one area where EA is really like fucked us up in my opinion, but gotta get your clicks somehow, I guess. Matt has steadily improved every year he's been here. Like Madden's, I don't remember when he joined, it was either Madden 20 or Madden 21, but he used to be, you know, if not the worst user in the league, at least one of the top 3 worst, and then he got, you know, a bit better than that the next cycle, and then he made the playoffs the first time, Madden 23, and then he like, you know, went on some actual runs, and like he's steadily improved. USC's roster is really interesting. I don't really know like what to say about them because they're replacing so much on offense, you know, especially Caleb Williams, who would have been a god tier quarterback to use in this game. I don't really know what they have from that perspective, but I would put him either bottom of frisky or top of mid, and I could be convinced either way.
Yeah, for me, when I was looking at this, I think it's top of mid. I don't want to. I think there's well, we're already at 10 o'clock tonight, but I think top of mid's good. It's a good roster. I think our guy Matt has been frisky at times, but not frisky enough to be frisky, if you will.
Yeah, I don't think Matt's a frisky person. I don't think he has that frisky in him. So I'm with you on the mid part. USC is like one of those like, okay but not great but not bad types of teams. So he's gonna have his kind of work cut out for him. And it's funny because we look at these teams and we're like, wow, 86 overall or whatever it is, they're right there. It's like, again, it's good but not great. So he's going to have, good matchups and bad matchups. But Matt definitely does not come across as frisky whatsoever, so I'd have a hard time putting him there.
Where'd you put him? Yeah, top of mid. Yeah, I agree. Top of mid. We can't just throw everyone in frisky if we're not sure. I agree. Like, we got to take a stand here at some point, and I like Matt at top of mid. Lucky's Washington Huskies. Now, they did, of course, go on a run all the way to the title game last year. Everyone is gone. Everyone is off of that Washington team. Like, name a player off of that Washington team. They are most likely not on this team anymore. They return no offensive starters. They return 1 defensive starter, the least of any of the teams on our list here. Lucky as a user, I mean, he made the Super Bowl in Madden 23. I almost might say that this is his best overall cycle in terms of consistency and in terms of the division he's been in, like, consistently making playoff runs and truly scaring people. I think he's been really impressive. I don't know, I don't really know what the vision is for 2024 because, again, this is the most unknown roster of any of these 32. I would say, I mean, shit, dude, is he frisky too? I feel like he is. I'd say.
Me personally, looking at this division, I was looking at bottom of fringe playoffs.
Yeah, because he's either pure user skill. He's either the second or third best.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like in the Big Ten, could he be one of the top 3? Yes. And could that make him a fringe playoff? Yes. That's in my opinion.
Sure. Okay. What do you think, Juan?
Yeah, I mean, we need 12 playoff teams. I do think there's a team or two that's probably better than him. In frisky, but at the same time, it's so tough. It's so tough because, again, this roster is could potentially be brutal. But Lucky, I kind of put him on the Cam spectrum of I think he's going to be 100% in it. I think he's one of the guys that play Madden now that just load up and kind of go through the motions. So I think he's going to be much better than what we've kind of seen. I would have put him in the frisky, probably between you and Cam, but I'm fine with fringe playoffs. If you guys want to give him that respect, that's fine.
I think Lucky is an outright better user than I am. don't think our roster gap would overcome that. So I'm happy to put him in fringe playoffs. And also, yeah, like you said, 12 people were making the playoffs. Well, technically 11 plus CPU, but in effect, 12 people were making the playoffs. And got to start filling that up. So I'm happy with Lucky over there. Wozie's Ohio State Buckeyes. This is the second best roster, I believe, in our league here, only behind Georgia. They have an incredible dynamic offense, or defense, I should say. I think their defense is one that was number one. Wozie, as I did hear a sigh, that feels like a very loaded sigh, so Cody will go to you first. But for me, Wozie is top of mid, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I moved him. Nah, he's probably listening, and this is gonna be disrespectful as hell. But anyway, I moved him to the bottom of bottom dwellers. No, I'm fine. He's back in the holding cell. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never played Wozie and sit here and felt like, wow, like that was fun. Like that Steelers roster is just like chuck it to George Pickens with a one-hand catch, or run it with your 90 plus speed, like, just scramble with your 90 plus speed quarterback.
Oh,
yeah. But maybe that helps, maybe, with getting good recruits and just having like a real gimmicky scheme. Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I think everyone, what works. Like, he's beat me. I can't sit here and act like I got unlucky or something. He's beat me. So, I mean, I think top of mid is safe.
This is such a tough one because the team's so good, and they're going to be good probably unless he just doesn't know how to press his controller buttons. Like, he should get top recruits like easily. If the game is again where you can just run a halfback dive and hold up and get 9 yards because your team, you're playing Lucky's Washington Huskies, and your whole offensive line is juiced with 80 abilities, and his guys are like just like 15-year-old kids, like. That to me is like, by default, Wozie should be a potential, to me, a fringe playoff person. User-wise, I think he's a bottom dweller, but the team is just so good that it's like, I don't know how we really kind of like, he's definitely not a frisk. It's disrespectful to put him in the frisky tier because I love my frisky tier and I don't think, he would fit well with them. But I do think just based off of the team itself, like, again, relax. Not first on fringe playoffs, but like, it's just the team's so good. Like, he could just run. It's like when you play Dahootie and he's got Myles Garrett and he's in cover 4 quarters at a big nickel like every single play, and there's nothing you can do.
And all of a sudden Garrett's in there.
Yep, you just got to sit there and just take it, and that's what that Ohio State team. Unless he goes out of his way to play poorly or to recruit poorly, Wozie should honestly be a fringe playoff team. And if you can't do it with Ohio State, like, man, I don't know what to tell you, but he should be in that.
I'm so fascinated. Like, this is a side thought. I'm so fascinated, like, if Sean goes like 3-9 with Georgia, or if like really, good, really established programs have a really bad first season, like how quickly their recruiting grades drop. Like I said team over user, right? 1,000,000% for Ohio State. For Georgia, could be the same thing, right? We don't really know. We don't know how much like an offensive line that's 10 overall better than the defense line is playing against is going to impact the game, and that's kind of where we're waiting to see. Yeah, so Sway, Georgia and mid, we are in fact tiering these based off what we think is going to happen in real life. So yeah, we think Arizona's a title contender. We think we're just going like that, and I'm sorry, but I just don't see it with Kirby Smart. Like, I think at some point that team's gonna fall off. And yeah, that's it. Simple. We have Boise State, if you will. Boz's Boise State. I think the only roster they're better than is Minnesota. They're probably a step below the rest. So we'll see what they do with Washington. They're probably in that tier. But Oz, love him as a user, love him as a man, just S tier human being. I don't see the pathway for him in 2024 to compete with this Boise State roster. He could wear all blue for all of his home games. That's gonna be real toxic. It's gonna be like impossible to see his players. He might throw like 6 picks, but beyond that, I'd probably put him somewhere in mid. I mean, I don't think he's all that frisky with that roster, but I'm happy to hear disagreements if y'all have them.
I think I would go top of bottom dwellers. for me.
So you okay? Well,
Yeah,
I would put him in mid. So Warren, you can break the tie.
Bottom of mid, just because he's Boz, and I don't care.
Sure.
They're not 25th, top 25 in anything outside of their 24th and toughest places to play. But I think you covered it. The all blue toxicity, reminiscent of like the home playoff game wearing white in the snow is such a dick move. It's very possible that he can throw off some of the cross-eyed people in the league with the blue on blue aesthetic. So
Yeah,
let's give him bottom of mid just out of respect.
for sure. And the only reason I'm thinking bottom, top of bottom dollars, and this is gonna be the same probably when I get to Phil. It's just like both of these guys like just don't understand the like love for college football, right? So it's like they're just like they're in here because it's, they like the league and they want to be a part of it and it seems like fun. It's like they don't have the passion of like building a college program up because like they just don't understand it. That's not a thing for them in Europe, right?
Yeah, Cody, you're right. They're gonna have to start from like square one, from recruiting to learning like how the game. It's such a different game.
They just don't understand.
Phil's coming in asking if there's knockout abilities, like if we're doing tiers. Like, okay, so he's like from step one on the process. So it's gonna be harder for him and Boz to kind of learn that. I think having some experience with the how college works and even like the older games will definitely help a little bit in the recruiting process.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, even for me who like lives and breathes college football, it's gonna be a little overwhelming at first. Maybe even more than a little. Like it's gonna be just like really tough. So if I can't even imagine coming in from a perspective of like having never watched a college football game or having no clue like how the recruiting system even
and then
works,
having Boise State, where you're like, I guess I'll take this 3-star.
It's like great. My pipeline is in a suburban Idaho. This is cool. I'm having fun.
Dan's gonna have 5 stars knocking his door down, and Boz is gonna be like, "I liked your tweet. Do you want to come here?" They're gonna be like, "No."
I damned your mom yesterday. Feel free to come. I'm bottom of mid because back secure Boz. If he was any other human, I'd probably put him top bottom dollar, like you said. Moving on now to our final conference again. Our viewership has skyrocketed. We're at 20 people. A big shout out to those of you joining us here late at night for what is already one of my favorite pieces of college football content we've done, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely loving it. CMAS's Clemson Tigers. Now, again, the Clemson program has gone down a little bit from like a top 2, top 3 program to now it's just another upper tier ACC program, but they still return a lot on defense. That front seven is going to be really tough, and CMAS has made a lot of runs the past couple cycles within one might say weaker conferences, but he's made a lot of runs and he's made a lot of Super Bowls. I think that within this ACC he is, I don't think there's a clear favorite in any of these conferences, but if there is a clear favorite, he's that. So I think I have to put him, either bottom of title contender or top of playoff. Like, there's no way he misses the playoffs. Like, I'd be shocked if he misses the playoffs. So you have to put him at the very least there. But Warren, what do you think?
I love that our playoff race just says Steel in it. It still sticks. So, like, if we can put Steel in it, then we can put CMS in playoff race for sure. The Clemson team, like you said, not elite, but still good enough to be better than most of the teams CMS is going to play. One of my biggest gripes with CMS is he'll be putting out a stream at like 4 o'clock, and the dude just looks like he hasn't even showered yet. Like his hair's all over the place. Like, we need like slumber party, no sleeping, like just bedhead all day, locked in CMS for this team to really be a title contender. I'm perfectly cool with the playoff race. I think like team-wise, it's there. Skill-wise, it's like we don't know how his game's going to translate, but I think he'll do enough to kind of figure it out. He's a very like safe player in terms of like doesn't do anything crazy offensively or defensively. So like by default, he should not lose games, but he also not going to have that offense or defense to like win him like the big one. So I think playoff race is about right for CMS.
Lord, sorry boys, I had to pee.
Okay.
I had to pee. I'm back.
Well,
so I was urinating, so I didn't hear anything you said, but I know that we are on CMAS, and I will give my take on CMAS without hearing anything you all said, and then you can judge it otherwise. I know that Clemson is going to be a stacked roster. I think this team's going to get plenty of recruits. For me, I think we gotta go bottom of the playoff, just under Oregon, for me personally. But I didn't hear anything you all said.
I mean, we both also had him in playoff. I didn't even think about where to put him, honestly, relative to Steele. But I think Oregon's a slightly better team, and CMAS and Steele, sure, yeah, bottom of playoff is fine. Did you feel good about that, Warren?
Yeah, I think that's good. Again, I think at first, going through these teams, we're like, okay, like we didn't want to like make it so top heavy, and I think we're kind of filling things in, and we can always move things around a little bit, but I think this is kind of filling out nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
Nick's Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, I'll speak frankly here. If you are going to give a bottom tier user a team to compete with, Notre Dame honestly is one of them. Their front seven's crazy. They should get organic pressure like all day, which can at the very least keep Nick in games. And Nick is Nick, so y'all can take it over from there.
Did you say my name or Warren?
You can go.
Okay. I said y'all. Sorry. Yeah. Cody, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. This is a tough one, isn't it? I mean, hold on. Let me look at. I don't want to. I'm looking at who so Gamble was the. And boy, this is a tough one, isn't it? I'm gonna give. I don't want to do it, but for me personally, he's the bottom of bottom dwellers.
Yeah, I think we're beating around the bush a little bit here. I think we got to do what we got to do, unfortunately.
So I was in a party. I think it was one of the Fall Guys Boys Club parties. And Nick was in it, and he is funny. The dude is a funny dude. Like, I don't know anything about him outside of
awesome. Yeah, I love Nick.
Right? I had no clue. I had no clue he had personality because
Nick's a dog. Nick's an absolute dog.
You wouldn't know. All I know is he's from Rhode Island, whatever, right? But he comes in the party, the dude's juiced up, right? You're like, okay, he's got something to him. If personality trait, frisky, gameplay, bottom dweller, right? Notre Dame's good team. I don't even know if Nick gives a damn about anything in the world. I just know he's probably not going to win very many games, but I respect him as a person because he's funny, dude.
Okay, I'll say this, and maybe I'm big braining this too much, but I would give Nick a better chance to win a conference game than I would Payne. Than I would Payne's Auburn Tigers, because every game Payne will play in the SEC, he's either clearly the worst user or he has clearly the worst roster, or both. I don't think that's
let's give Nick just for the juice. Give him
Nick Notre Dame, not to project too far ahead, but Miller time Florida State. I don't know if Nick's losing that game. We'll see.
Yeah. I like that. I like that
Miller
assessment.
Played a football game in years, so
I like that assessment.
I'm here to give Nick, the slightest amount of respect and put him above Payne.
I like it.
Kings, Louisville Cardinals. Now, you speak about someone who is going to be locked all the way in when it comes into this conference. It's going to be King. He's already calling me out for the disrespect, saying that CMAS is the clear favorite in the ACC, and I love that. I hope it gives him juice. I think Louisville is a team that, if you're just, kind of a casual viewer of college football, you may not know, how good they are, but they were a borderline playoff contender heading into the last week of the regular season last year. They've done an incredible turnaround job over there. I think they bring a lot of, especially those defensive pieces back. Not so sure about the offense, but, I think CMAS, I still think he's the clear favorite, but, as far as that second, third place goes, why not King? And I might have him bottom of playoff contender. Although, I say that without having a ton of knowledge about how good he is, other than I've heard him spoken highly about by a few other guys, so that's all I know. But go ahead, Warren, this time.
Cody's just using random team
Just
logos
one,
now.
just
I
one
love
too
it.
many birds, dude. One too many. One too many. I saw a bird and yeah, it's on me. It's on me, dude.
I mean, there's a lot of red birds on the
It's a
screen, so
lot
it's
of
hard
red
to
birds,
kinda...
dude. Jeez, OV.
That's funny. King is in that category to me, the Cam Lucky tier of like college football. Like, I love football so much. Like, I'm like a football guy, and like if I pull up to like a random like bar, he's gonna be talking about football like 100%. Like, that's his deal. Um, like, love for the game, 10 out of 10. Like, skill wise, I think he's better than he's shown. He just beat me in Madden. Like, honestly, let's be real, like, it doesn't matter. So this is not based off of that, but even before that, I do think that he has the capability of, like, being a problem. And I have a tough time, honestly, placing him somewhere because I don't think he's frisky. I don't know if if it's a playoff team just because that roster, like, yes, Connor, to your point, like, it's better, but it's still, like, going to be worse than majority of the teams he's going against. So it falls in the category of, like, can the user outplay the skill, the player skill gap? Kind of like, so to me it's between him and like Cam, in that sort of range between the fringe playoffs and the frisky type of deal.
Yeah, if I'm looking at the ACC, I think based on like user wise, I would probably take King over CMAS, but based off of roster, I would give CMAS the edge. I mean, King over Nick, King over Zach, King over Phil. I think King over Morty. I think King probably over Troy. Those are too close. Kentucky versus Louisville, too close. I think rosters, and then I think Louisville over West Virginia. So for me, I put him at. I mean, maybe this is wild. Maybe it's not. I put King at bottom of playoff race. Just based off of that, like based off of knowing that he's probably going to be one of the top dogs of the ACC. Again, we don't know how this game's going to judge. Like, is it going to pick two from each conference and then go from there? Like, we don't know. So for me, it's bottom of the playoff race, but I don't know.
So now you've got me, like, now that we've kind of like got these tiers set to some degree, I'm thinking, like, would I be more surprised if King made the playoffs, or King, like King's Texas or King's Louisville, and
Allen's gonna be so tight. Like,
yeah.
For real. Like, 1-on-1, I think Allen wins, right? But again, it's Cody, I'm happy you put someone above instead of like just dumping. Like, we're like, oh, this guy stinks. It's better like to give someone that we're not sure of, like, respect, which is cool. Again, we don't know how the game's going to play. We don't know anything. So if things are a little outlandish or things don't make much sense, like, that's perfectly cool. Like, I'm fine with taking a stand on someone saying, hey, look, I think they're going to just, be better. That's perfectly fine. I'm cool with honestly anywhere between playoff race and frisky. So Connor, you're going to have to figure this one out.
Again, I know I borderline know nothing about King as a user. The ACC is like really tough because it's a bunch of pretty good users.
Yeah.
Pretty good teams, right? So
Yeah.
it's like there's a whole like soup,
Yeah,
if you will.
it's true.
The ACC is a soup, and I don't know like how to make heads or tails out of it.
Okay, do you think does he beat Tahuti?
Are we talking like Hootie's Minnesota? Yes.
Okay, so then he's at least better than mid fringe.
Yeah. I would say he beats me. But I'd say he's above fringe. Period. We're saying frisky. Yeah, frisky. I'm gonna make a stand here. Let's put him bottom of the playoff race. Below CMAS, below Steel, but yeah, I think.
Yeah, this is a 1-6 Madden user you're putting at bottom of playoff race, and I'm here for it. Like, I love it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, like, we don't know. So like let's drop what I would say, drop our nuts and like let's make things happen. So it's up to you know what? King wants to come and talk all this, right? Whatever he's talking, now prove it. Right?
Yeah,
Like
and the trash talk has started. Ben in the chat saying King was my easiest game and my worst season.
Ooh.
So the trash talk, like, can we schedule a home and home? Like, can we get a home and home going? Thank you.
No, this is what it's about. When I joined BL a couple, was it 2 Maddens ago, and you guys did a tier show, and like I was like C tier or bottom, like C tier, like number 4 or
and you
something.
deserved it at the time too. You deserved it at the time too. That's not your fault.
Absolutely. I was in my living room watching that stream, and I was like, these MFers don't even know.
They don't get it.
They're like, oh, he's from top. You know, he wins some games there. And I was like, oh, you guys think that's why I always harp on the compete thing.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you think you guys are tough.
Out, yeah, everyone dropping out. Oh, I'm sick of Madden. You guys are all soft. That's what it is. You guys aren't here, and you don't actually want to compete. So, I was tilted then, and it's like, I always need that jolt of like, get pissed to play better, and that's why I started. When I came in, I was already annoyed. So that's why me and Ben, I think I wish I can go back to the old Slack DMs, like before Ben and I knew each other. Like he was just like disrespectful to me, and I was to him for no reason. And it turns out we're like the same person.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Louisville, Clemson's gonna be spicy. Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville, West Virginia. Like there are a lot of ACC rivalries. What did I say? Bottom playoff race, fine by me. Zach, aka Miller Times, Florida State Seminoles. Now the roster is really good. It's a top 10 roster. Almost arguably should have made the playoffs last year. They unfortunately lose a lot from that roster. Miller Time, it doesn't sound like he's played a football video game in years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we might be talking Nick levels. We might be talking Pain levels. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
we can speedrun this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think we just put him at the bottom of bottom dwellers and we let him prove us wrong. I mean, he's got a good team, or does he? I don't know. I mean they
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
I just think it's bottom of bottom dwellers until he proves us wrong.
Yeah, I mean, again, to say we all have good teams except for like Tahuti and a couple people, right? So it's not like, again, he's the Florida State's 12th in power rankings. They're 88 overall, right? Which is, it's all relative. He's got to prove it. He's got to sit on the couch and watch this stupid stream and be like, you know what? These guys don't even know. But does he have that in him? We'll see. But I don't think we can kind of put him.
I literally don't know. I'm putting that up right now. I literally do not know. Miller Time. Zach. I hope you're good. I hope you're a dog. I hope you bring some juice to this AFC. But everything I hear, bottom of bottom dweller. Phil's James Madison. The roster, he's just gonna be such a disadvantage. This is not the same James Madison even that had juice last year that won like 11 games in the Sun Belt. They again lost their. I think I mentioned this in the team reveal show, but they lost their coach Signetti to Indiana and had a resulting like mass transfer exodus. Your favorite player from James Madison last year is probably not on this team anymore. So it's going to be a roster that's probably like at the very least 10 overall lower than anyone else he plays this season. Phil, as a user, very solid. Very, very solid. I think perennially underrated in this league, but if it is, like, if team matters as much as they say, like, I don't know. It's going to be real tough. I don't want to put him bottom dweller purely out of respect for Phil as a user, but, like, bottom of mid, like, below Boz is where I would say. And that's off of James Madison just being an uncompetitive roster.
Yeah, and I think you might be respecting him too much.
Think so?
I think, for me personally, I think he is below, and this is insane disrespect.
God, Cody, you put him below. Okay.
Yeah, this is insane disrespect. So I'll let Warren be the judge, but yeah, to me he's below. He's below
Gamble and Grid.
Yeah. He's below Gamble and Grid for me. I don't like the messages I'm seeing in the CFB chat where he's like, yo, what's this? What's that? Like, to me, like all of that clutter for these guys. Like I think Boz is a little bit more aware and like locked in and like probably just wants to have fun. I could just see Phil being like, I'm just gonna play Madden. This is like, this is not what I expected it was gonna be. I could be wrong. And again, Phil is a good user. He's beat me more than a handful of times, and so me putting him below Gamble is incredibly disrespectful. Like I'm well aware of that. But I just don't like the juju that I'm seeing in the chat from him with what's going to be probably the worst roster.
So this is a vibes pick. Like you don't like how he's been in chat.
This is vibes plus what's probably the worst roster on the list, right?
Sure. All right, Warren, are we here for this? Are we here for putting below Gamble?
So there's a couple directions I can go with this. I'm gonna first equate it to this is haven't had a harder time following that something like that since Jenna and I gave our vows at our wedding. I wrote down this incredible speech and I was so prepared. So she went first and she said like it was like a 10-minute thing where everyone was like crying and cheering and clapping, and she finished. She handed me the mic, and I swear to God, I took the mic and I looked at her and I said, "Oh fuck," because I was done. I scratched my whole speech. I went off the rip. I just said, if I'm gonna just dig myself out of this, I'm gonna just have to make things up. I did awful. So it was not a good, she kind of let me bury myself. So props to her. I think with Phil, like the only way to make this worse for him is to bring Alex in here and just continually dump on him. Not knowing the game and not knowing how things work, and Phil plays the game in a way of like someone that like I don't say bends the rules because it's not a rules thing, but it's like what's the most efficient way to play the game. So if it's like, remember when you had like 8 strip specialists and he was like, I thought this, and you're like, dude, just pick abilities, you have fun, do your thing. It doesn't have to be so like, like meta whatever. In the NCAA or college football, like this team stinks. JMU stinks. I don't know if he's gonna get like the Brainiacs. Is it like a smart school?
No, it's no.
Okay, so he's just. I am a big fan of.
If you missed my academic tier list, it's probably at the bottom of the academics too for all these universities. It's not good.
Yeah, so it's gonna be rough. If he had like a Ohio State or something like that, then I think he'd jump up immediately. Bottom 12 is just hilarious, and like I'd rather just. Like, I don't even know, dude. That's rough. That's like.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just like.
I am listen.
You're basing on him quitting. You're saying he's probably going to quit at some point.
I will concede, and I will put him bottom of mid. And Ben saying they have PMT. You're right. They do. They do have PMT. But because listen, user skill. If we're looking at user skill, he is above all of these guys in bottom dweller. Right. So I will concede that I will concede that in mid that he is without a question better than all these bottom dwellers, but that roster is going to be we don't know how this game's going to work, but if I assume the game is going to work how it's going to work, that roster, if he were to go up against Gamble, I'm not confident that he beats Gamble. Like his quarterback might miss 50% of the throws that he throws.
Yeah, Cody, you're right because you're not gonna have all these dead eyes and think that quarterback's gonna be. I'm watching Austin play now, right, without having Burrow, and Will Levis is missing everything.
Exactly,
like we take for granted.
That quarterback might miss every throw, and then Phil comes in and he's like, "This is bullshit. I'm leaving this league." He's like, "This is dumb."
Yeah.
But again, I will give him his respect and put him bottom of mid because he is better than all of those guys.
Those conference games against Zach's Florida State and against Nick's Notre Dame are gonna be really interesting because if he loses either of those, like he's gonna be in for a rough time in the cycle.
Yeah. That's what's electric about college, right? Is it's like. Madden, everyone's about the same. Like I don't need. Never mind. I don't need to get on soapbox here. We can go to the next thing.
No, every game in college is important, right? If
Exactly.
you watch, right now, let me be honest, if Justin just went live, he's probably playing. So I'm not gonna watch this. There's no chance I care about him rolling out and throwing bad passes, right? But if you're watching the college game, you're like, okay, this game matters. This means something. These games are so important.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see the matchups. We've seen Tennessee versus Jacksonville and Steele holding up Vance so he could play Byron at 10:30, right? We've seen that.
Yeah.
We want to see. We've never seen Auburn versus someone. We've never seen Florida versus someone.
Mm-hmm.
These are all new.
Yeah.
And there's all these new rivalries that are going to pop off. So that's really what's exciting about this.
I'm locked in for these conference games, and BLN's going to be locked in for it too, ladies and gentlemen. Do not get twisted. Oh, yeah. Morty's Miami Hurricanes. That's just a very funny user to team pairing, in my opinion, because you talk about someone who like does not give off like those vibes at all as Morty. But Morty, after he's been better than me this cycle, but he's had a similar trajectory in terms of like the first couple years he was really, really good, competed with Allen consistently for the NFC West, made the divisional round a couple times, and then really just kind of fell off the face of the earth, and I believe is no longer a part of the Madden League after a couple days ago. Maybe his last ever Madden game, we'll see, because I know he's at least heading into this. I know he's college football only, but Miami as a program, as a roster is worse than the sum of its parts in that they consistently have like coaching fuck ups. Like their head coach is just like not a good game manager at all. But that doesn't matter in this video game, ladies and gentlemen, because you are the head coach. So I like Morty's chances here a lot. I think he's going to be perennially frisky. Fringe playoffs is tough for me just because I would put like King, CMAS, Troy, probably Ben too. Honestly, I would all probably put above Morty at this point. I personally would throw those Miami Hurricanes somewhere in Frisky, and we can decide where. But that's where I have them right now.
I'll let Warren be the mediator here because and this is no disrespect to the second GOAT Morty, but I was going top of mid. That Hurricanes offense or that Hurricanes team in general, I'm just not sure about. I feel like Morty has just been, he's had his runs in BL where he's just like, oh, like Morty's going on another run, but he's never broken, right? Like what he used to be. He's never gone over that, like, oh, he's beat Austin or he's beat Warren or he's beat he's never, I feel like he gets to that point where it's like he's going on a run, and then he meets, one of those top tier guys and then gets beat. So for me, in this game, he's top of mid. But interested to hear other opinions.
Honestly, that's exactly where I would put him. Morty's weird because I played him once since he's
Oh no, Connor, we're disrespecting Connor's board.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So it took me Morty's one of those guys where he ran a lot of different things than I was accustomed to. Like he'd run like pistol, halfback screens, and I think I got clipped on one of them on a McCaffrey run where I was hit sticking in the air. So I give him props for that. I think he's got Madden fatigue. So he's another one of those guys that I think I don't know his love for college football or if he even knows anything about it, but I do think he has the potential to be frisky, but I think he's a higher mid, upper mid, if not the where Cody has him now. I know he gets a lot more respect in the BL friendship circle, but I'm not in that group, so I think he's top of mid.
Well, you kind of just took apart my argument before I could even give it in terms of the friendship circle thing, but that's unfortunate. But no, I think if I were to put Morty's Miami against Justin's Wisconsin, I think that's a matchup I would give to Morty 6 or 7 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And that's where I would put him at the very least bottom of Frisky. I mean, I just think this is a little bit disrespectful, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'd say that
he probably beats Illinois. He probably beats that Illinois roster too.
Right. But like to me, he's in like the Cloud range. Like
Tennessee
Cloud's Tennessee and Morty's Miami, I think are very similar in terms of.
You're probably right.
So.
You're probably right.
That's just my opinion there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Also, yes, BL friendship circle. Understand y'all. Like, let me give Morty his flowers real quick. Let me give Morty his flowers.
Like I would love for you to suck Morty off. I would love that right now.
And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it with vigor, Cody. Trust me.
Yeah.
This man, before BLN was a thing, before, like, this was pre-Madden 18 even, like, before damn near anyone else, like, in here was in this league, this man was driving, like, half an hour across Seattle, like, in rush hour, just to, like, meet me in the library of Seattle, which is where I used to go to. He would just meet me there in the library and just record podcasts with me for an hour. Again, that's before BLN, that's before, like, the content grind was even a thing, like... He's just like, that's an S tier brother right there. That's an S tier dog. And I have to put him in Frisky just because of that.
Yeah, no, listen. I mean, Morty's a dog. Yeah. We're not gonna, like, me putting him in the top of mid was, like, disrespectful, and I knew it. And I'm glad he called me out of it, because he is a dog. Like, Morty's one of those guys that when you play him, he's like, it's in the just, like, so when I'm gonna say this, it's gonna start disrespectful and then become respectful. So he's in the Justin territory where it's like you have no clue what he's gonna do, but like where Justin, he also has no clue what he's gonna do. Morty feels like he has an actual plan when he, like, you don't know what he's gonna do, but Morty has a plan what he's gonna do. Justin doesn't. You don't know what Justin's gonna do, and Justin still doesn't have a plan what he's gonna do either. So yeah.
There's so much shade, like.
Yeah, dude. Here I am. Yeah,
like,
hey, schedule a home and home with me. Cincinnati's ready. Schedule a home and home, bitches.
I have never and I will never go into a game against Morty thinking easy win. This should be easy, right? Can't say the same about Matt.
Yeah,
Can't say the same about Tim.
I agree.
Sean, it's just, there's levels to this in my opinion. There's levels to this.
Well, the purpose of us all having opinion too is that I think we're both all very flexible in terms of, because we all have different experiences playing. We're all different skill levels. We all have different time in the league. We've all played different people, different amount of time. Yeah. So it's, it's good to get the insight from everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. Only two more, y'all, in the game. We are
we're over the 2 hour mark. Worst one. The worst one here. Ugh.
Is it Austin? Oh, Kentucky.
Ugh.
Troy's Kentucky Wildcats. Now, Troy knows ball. We know this. IRL, he knows ball. Haven't seen it as much from, like, a Madden perspective. I know, like, again, you're talking about the Cams of the world, the Luckies of the world. Like, I know Troy's going to be very locked in with this Kentucky team. Very much ready to compete. For me, like, Frisky. Like, I think he's higher than Morty. Like, I would put him above Morty in terms of the friskiness, but roster is slightly above average from the SEC perspective, but, like, it's clearly below Clemson, clearly below Notre Dame. I'd say below Louisville, and it's below Florida State as well, so it's probably, in that kind of, like, mid-range of the ACC we have here. And then Troy as a user, admittedly, like, I've only seen him play a couple times, but every time I've come away from being like, yeah, like, he's good, but is he, like, some insane talent? Not necessarily.
Warren, you go ahead.
Man, Kentucky doesn't even crack the top 5 in anything. Like, offense, defense, place to play, like, so already starting at a disadvantage. I mean, we saw Troy take over Kansas City and BL, and I think he's very, like, specific to his game style, right? He's like one of those, like, I was born in 1970s football and this and that, and whether he has the Chiefs or the Rams or the whatever, he's gonna run his stuff. I don't know the Kentucky roster enough to know if that is a fit. If Troy had Ohio State or something, I would say that's potential, fringe playoffs, if not playoff race. Kentucky, again, like, you want to run halfback dive on 2nd and 9, like, my 495 overall defensive linemen are going to be in your backfield. So when it comes to, like, man on man, like, you want to run the ball and do all these things, like, cool. If you're Cam and you have Michigan and you got talent, yes, but it's going to be tough for Troy to do that. So I'm hoping Troy really finds his way to, first of all, props for taking Kentucky, because, like, why would you want them? Second of all, like, I think he should find a way to kind of, like, elevate his game and kind of really, because I've seen him be really good, and I've also seen him like completely not locked in. So like I don't know what I'm getting out of him when I play him. And like I'll play him, he's in my division. So one game I'll be like, oh, good, I'm good. I'll be on YouTube, I'll be playing him, whatever. And the next game he's like on super try hard mode, running all these plays I haven't seen, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this for 45 minutes. Like, come on, dude. So I don't know what we're getting with him, but we'll see. I think I don't know where to put him. Honestly, I don't.
Cody, you sound like you have thoughts. Go ahead.
I'll make my call here. I think based on user and roster, I would go middle. I would go fringe playoffs above the rest of the group besides Texas and Ohio State. I think UK is a better roster than Cincinnati, South Carolina, Minnesota, and Washington.
It is.
And
it is, yeah.
I think if you were to take the user versus those four users, like I think he can match up well against those four users. And I think I would take that against all the ones below it. That might be me calling my shot. But for me, I would go high fringe playoffs.
Yeah, Kentucky's a very slept-on roster. I will say they have a massive deficiency at O-line heading into 2024, and knowing what
that's like the anti-Troy then.
Yeah, which is the anti-Troy, which is unfortunate. So hey, Troy, listen. Hey, I'm calling my shot, Troy. Listen, looking in the camera, Troy. Don't let me down.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. So he believes in Kentucky. I'm okay. I mean, yeah, definitely fringe playoffs. I'm
not okay with it, but I don't have a better solution.
If Kentucky was no, go ahead.
He's in that tier. He's in the teams kind of stinks tier, but he can potentially be good tier.
If Kentucky,
that's like what the fringe is.
Yeah, if Kentucky was in the SEC, like they, obviously we had to realign things, he would be frisky, maybe mid, right? And it's no disrespect, but he's in the ACC, and do I think he could make a run in the ACC? I do.
Yeah, the less so than the Big 12, where this is really the case, but in the ACC, like there aren't a ton of rosters that scare you. Like,
no, like could he beat CMAS? Yes. Could he beat King? Yes. And then could he beat Bean? Could he beat Ben? Could he beat Morty? Yeah, like, it's like, yeah, he could beat. In my opinion, he could beat all of those teams.
Yeah, and I think Troy put it perfectly. Kentucky is and has been a good roster for a decade. Like, they're good. They're solid. They are a 7-8 win team. In the SEC, that's hard to do. But we'll see what Troy does.
Speaking of Ben.
Final one now. Yeah, speaking of Ben Teneda, this is our final user to team pairing, and thank you all so much for sticking with us here through a 2-hour and 18-minute stream. Good God, did not know it was going to go that long.
But like, we love that. Like the people love it.
We love that. Listen, the bourbon's flowing, the takes are flowing. Absolutely love it. Ben's West Virginia Mountaineers. Again, I'll speak about the roster real quick. They had a similar trajectory to Louisville in that no one expected them to be all that good in 2023, and then they shocked a lot of people. Ended up winning, I believe, 9 games. I believe there's a lot of turnover from that 2023 roster, so I don't know how much that's going to be relevant heading in 2024, but there's that talent floor there. Ben as a user, it's really hard to separate some of these guys in the ACC. Like, yeah. King, Ben, Troy, Phil, like, I don't know. They're all kind of, I don't know. Maybe not Phil, but the other 3 guys. But,
I mean, Warren's going to have to go first here. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to do the coward thing. I'm going to let y'all, not decide, but
Warren,
you can go first.
Yeah, Warren's going to have to go first here.
So first of all, I want to say, Ben, again, thank you for the no sportsmanship rule. I really look forward to just absolutely dumping on people and celebrating up the sideline and really making this a good experience for everybody. You know, it's really important that we're all able to express ourselves on the gridiron. So West Virginia's, you know, it's such a. I thought they'd be better than they are, like team wise, but they're not. We saw Ben win a Super Bowl and not shut up about it. We also saw Ben, you know, not make the playoffs. So we don't know what we're getting. Ben is out of Madden, so I give him the small bump of I'm only playing college football and I'm going to be locked in for that. We have 6 playoff teams right now, and we have 7 fringe playoff teams.
Yeah.
So we're really like hoping some of these frisky teams will make that jump. I think Willie's one of them. I like him over some, you know, a few of the fringe playoff teams now, but since he, you know, ripped out Connor's soul, he doesn't deserve that at this point.
Exactly. You get it.
I do. Ben is somewhere between. I think he'd be top of frisky or in that Dehootie tier of fringe playoffs.
Yeah.
I know what the right thing is to do here, but I don't want to do it. The right thing is to put him bottom of fringe playoffs. I think he's earned that. But like, ugh, I don't know.
That's such a vote of confidence.
I
hate that. I think you might make the playoffs.
So, yeah, you guys don't want to hear my opinion. You guys don't, and Ben doesn't either. And Ben doesn't want to hear it either.
Give it. What was the bourbon for, Cody? If you're not going to give your takes here.
I mean, I'm Ben's father, right? I mean, when's the last time Ben's beat me? I don't know. You know, he could probably tell you, and it's probably like Madden 18, maybe something like that. I just, you know, West Virginia, is it the same team as Cincinnati? Probably. Is it the same team as South Carolina? No, South Carolina's probably better. Is it the same team as Minnesota? Maybe. Is it the same as Washington? Maybe. So it's like, for me personally, knowing the user, I'm like, it's definitely bottom of fringe. Maybe middle of frisky because of the roster. I just feel but again, I you know, I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for Ben to come in and prove me wrong, but it's just like that roster is not good. But then again, you know, I'm sitting, you know, I can't sit here and, you know, toot my own horn because Cincinnati currently is sitting in the middle of the fringe playoffs, and that's, you know, probably the same roster as West Virginia. So I think we're fine. Probably bottom of fringe playoffs. I think we're probably fine. But yeah,
just talk it out.
Yeah. No. The only reason I was saying but is like
your brain right now is like
it's in a blender. It's in a blender. That's all. It's in a blender.
The mental pretzel.
But I do think we're at a place now, gentlemen. I mean, I'm not trying to take over Connor's position, but I do think we're in a place now where, like, do we see anything that we need to adjust? Right? It's like we've got 3 title contenders. It's a 12-team playoff. We could probably start to shift things around, playoff race, title contenders, move things around. I think we could probably start to shift things because the fringe and frisky are looking a little dense here.
Yeah, I want to move Texas King. I want to move him to bottom of playoff race, I think. Our roster's really good.
I don't disagree.
King's good enough where he deserves that respect.
That would be the last thing. Why don't we start from the bottom dwellers and work our way up?
Okay.
Bottom, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't really. Oh. Okay, we're good. I don't think I have an issue with the bottom dwellers. I mean, the ordering. Again, I would be less surprised by Nick winning a playoff game just based on him being in the ACC than I would Payne or Zach's. Well, yeah. Zach's also in the ACC, but giving him a little bit of respect.
I'm looking at all these teams now.
Maybe
still being last in mid is still like. I mean, if I had to put money on it, like that's kind of where I like to figure out how I actually feel. Like, I would think he would beat Matt, but I don't know based on the teams. JMU could just be so bad.
I'm gonna call my shot and put Grid above Gamble in bottom dollars.
Okay. I mean, the rosters are like virtually the same, so it's all about who you think. Who
and
better.
I think Grid's a better user in the bottom dwellers, and then outside of that, I think I'm fine. I mean, I just don't know enough about Zach and Payne.
I want to put Boz above Sean in mid.
Above Georgia.
Now the roster difference is catastrophic, so I feel kind of like dumb as I'm talking this out.
I love
don't know, like has Sean played any? I don't know.
With all due respect, Connor, and this is the Georgia should be able to win. Like, I don't care who's playing. If it's Georgia, Boise State, and you lose as Georgia, like it's time. Like just don't buy the game. 10-hour trials over. Keep it moving. I think JMU. I am again one of the biggest Phil haters. Again, like with reason. I don't think he's. I don't know. Cody really made a good case, and I have a hard time, after he spent 45 minutes saying how Phil's trash, really good, taken away from that. So I think it's good.
But we feel good. We feel good about Boz over Georgia. I mean, that's a statement we're making here.
I mean, I do, but there's two of you here.
Cody, you made your stand. Connor made his stand, and I'll make my stand in a little bit.
Okay. As far as the rest of mid goes,
you wasted your stand on Grid in the bottom dollar.
Yeah,
sorry, dude.
I did.
It's over.
I wasted it.
Well, as the rest of mid goes, like Matt up top and second above those guys that's which was mid. So moving on to Frisky. There's just a lot of
I feel like
not any order. I truly don't know.
I like, in my opinion, we need 1 to 2 more to move up in each ranks here. Like Frisky needs to move up. Like one Frisky needs to move up.
Justin down and Willie up.
Willie up, even though we have him below me and Cam right now.
I think my get out of jail for you. I was gonna put Willie, move him up 1 or 2 in Frisky.
I mean, we each get a stand, so that's your stand. I'm here for it.
I'll move him up 1. I'll move him up 1 in Frisky.
So Willie.
Okay, so we can move Justin down to top of mid then, which is more than fine with me. I have no issues with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Where's Willie go?
He'll jump Cam there, so he's. Just out of respect for the Gator thing, that's just he did a bad thing. He did a bad thing.
I appreciate that, Warren. Are we disrespecting Alex?
Yes, but Illinois sucks.
Yeah,
right? Wait, you know what though? Can I make a stand on Alex?
Okay.
Not only did he put me onto those shirts that button up. I bought 4 of them, and I look awesome, right? Really good fitting button ups. The brand's called Flagging something. I don't know. We put him at bottom of Frisky because his team's garbage.
Yeah.
But we put Cody and Dahudi and Allen and Lucky with equally bad teams.
Yeah.
Up way above him.
Yeah.
So we can jump him into fringe playoffs. I'm fine with that, and move a fringe playoff up to playoff race.
Or we can move me and Dahudi down. Right? I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
I refuse to accept that Alex's Illinois should be above me. You may be right, but I refuse to accept it.
And we can move him up in Frisky at least then. Because we set the precedent of fringe playoff being pretty much good users with bad teams. Outside of Ohio State, right?
Illinois is really bad. I mean, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So is Minnesota. Just because Dahudi runs an RPO, now he's fringe, right? He runs cover.
I mean, yes. If you want
He
that
runs
from that, yes.
cover 4. No, but he runs cover 4 match, and now he's fringe playoffs. Like, I think that's crazy.
Goddamn right. I will say I am giving the idea of Hootie like in a college football game maybe too much respect. Like you might be right there.
And I'm doing the complete opposite, so I understand it should be somewhere in the middle.
And I'll tell you what, Alex has done nothing but dog walk Cam all cycle in this league. Like, do we want to maybe move Illinois up one more at least, put them above Michigan?
Boy, I mean that is a statement. Those team, the difference in the overalls of those teams.
I know. This is where it's tough.
But like, so it's how it is now. Think about again, Cam having the Giants and Alex having the Cowboys. Now it's like probably even worse, where Michigan's just so much better.
It's easily worse. Yeah.
For me, I'd keep him right in the middle. But
we need to
he bumped up 3 spots. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We need to move Wozy down. I'm sorry. This is.
You don't have to convince me. You don't have to convince me.
Top of fringe. Yeah, top of fringe. Yeah, top of fringe. Yeah, top of fringe is bad. Yeah, top of fringe is bad. That's a good call.
But so look at this. Ready? Ohio State is one of the top 2 teams. Michigan's very good as well, right? Utah is very good. Ohio State obviously is better, but I think he's a worse user than Connor or Willie or Alex. All right, like it's. I don't think that the team outweighs.
Yeah, Wozy's just so gimmicky. He might be frisky. Is he mid? Is he top? No. Okay, sorry. I'm getting weird.
We're moving him down from top of fringe.
Yo, I'm getting weird.
I'm getting weird.
No,
I'm
no.
getting
After
weird.
he disrespected Nick, you know what?
I'm getting weird.
I don't care.
I'm getting weird. Yeah, I'm getting weird.
Did he disrespect Nick? Did I miss something?
No, when he ran for 8,000 yards and we suspended his quarterback.
Oh, fuck, yeah, top of mid. Cody, top of mid. I completely forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah, those things don't go away.
He went from top of fringe to top of mid.
I completely forgot about
He
that.
went from
Look,
top of fringe.
there's some people here that we know the rules, right?
Okay,
and, can't break them.
So listen, hear me out here. I'm gonna make a statement that he's probably not even listening because Becca probably yelled at him at this point.
Oh Lord.
I think we gotta put CMAS in the title contender. And I don't love it. I don't love saying that, right? But it's like he knows how to figure out the mechanics of a game. He knows how to he knows how to trade. He knows how to whatever. Like he's figured out Madden. So what are we like? What's
I am so disrespected right now.
Like what is
Cody?
what like
Cody.
what is like what do we like?
What is? I can tell you. How much time do you have?
No, I'm just saying like what's. What is
we can talk it out.
What is changing our minds from the fact that CMAS is not going to have a top tier program and his team's going to be an absolute like disaster to play every season?
I don't think he's a title contender. I think he's a basic, right, playoff race. He's in the playoffs. Will he make the Final Four? I mean, someone has to make the Final Four. I guess, in theory, if you wanted to say, okay, these are the Final Four teams, what you think, someone has to be that slot. I don't think it's Steele.
Really?
I don't know who. I don't think CMAS. I think CMAS is on not even close to Hero, who I don't think is close to me. And that's like.
That's what I'm saying. Look at these. Like, it's got to be CMAS. It's not Steele. It's not King. It's not the other King.
I was gonna say I think it's either CMAS or Steele for that 4th spot. So if you like really don't think it's Steele, then I'm. Yeah, I mean, I don't love it.
If I have to put a 4th person, I'd put CMAS. I get that, but I would move him over 5 slots over to the right after Arizona. I don't think
Doesn't let me put him.
Contender-
It doesn't let me put him by this. It doesn't let me put him by the settings logo. Doesn't let
I
me.
mean, I'm okay with like we can just say I'm okay with saying like Dan, Warren, and Hero are the favorites, and then everyone else is a tier below. Like that doesn't feel wrong to me.
but if you put it as 4 teams have to make it, yes, that's fine. But then I don't think that it's
Well,
like equal in terms. But how do you feel, Connor? Do you feel disrespected to have Morty as the last person in your tier?
That's fine with me. I'm totally okay with putting myself and Morty on the same tier, to be 100% honest with you. Although I also like consistently just don't rate myself that highly. So, I don't like. Why are we saying we have to have 4 people in title contenders?
No, I
just
no.
decided to
No,
put me
no,
on tilt.
no. I'm not necessarily. Like, we don't have to. I just felt like, for me, I just, what CMAS has made the past 2 Super Bowls in the NFC, right? I just I don't know. For me, I feel like CMAS knows how to build a team. He knows how to he's figured out how Madden works and has built a team and knows all those things. So who am I to think that he's not going to do the same with a college football game in an already good Clemson roster?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like recruiting for the future, I agree. This tier list is for just 2024. Like that's why we have Allen in fringe playoffs, for example. That's why we have Hootie, whoever in fringe playoffs. Like I think for just 2024, like I mean, CMAS I don't think ever starts all that hot in some of these cycles. Like
that's true. That's true.
I'd put him top of playoff race, honestly. Like I do again think he's the favorite in the ACC, but
that's true.
Would not have him beating Dan, Warren, or Hero in a one-on-one. Like I just wouldn't have that happening. So
okay, well let's go to Frisky. Is there anything we disagree with Frisky? I feel like we skipped. But anything we disagree with?
I think
Frisky?
It's good. I think the bottom of Frisky is like unknown player, or like I don't say unknown, but like Agenda could do good or bad, right? Morty could do good or bad. Cloud could do good or bad. Like Alex could do good or bad. Like I think those guys are perfect. Where like they're Frisky, where hey maybe they're mid or maybe they're fringe playoffs. We just don't know yet.
Okay.
As far as fringe playoff goes, I mean it's tough because I'm seeing Troy in front of quite a few users who I think he's worse than, but Kentucky's got a better roster.
Okay.
I don't know.
Troy versus Hootie right now for $500. Who do you have?
Woo!
Troy versus Hooties. I got $500 in the line.
Troy's Kentucky versus Hootie's Minnesota.
I probably take the Hootie.
Probably take Troy.
I'm not saying move to Hootie first, but I'm saying maybe we let Troy earn that before we do anything, right? Because Troy's a good player, right? He has a good enough team, but his team doesn't outweigh all the other teams in the fringe playoffs. Look at the teams in fringe playoffs. These are you guys are going to be.
I mean,
the
Bearcats are not a good team.
Yeah, and with wear and tear, like you guys are going to have to get the best. It'd be rough because, like. Dan's backups are going to be better than your starters. Like, it's going to be wild. So I definitely.
Sorry, Ben's bringing this up, and I agree with him. Like, there's no reason to think that Kentucky's roster is going to be like that much better than like some of the others in the French playoffs. Like, it's not going to be a situation where like, oh god, you like go to Kroger Field and like you can't do anything. And I think we probably move Troy down a couple slots as I'm looking at it. I'd probably put it between Allen and Hootie, personally.
Look at
yeah.
If you compare Cody and Allen.
Yeah, there's no way you can put me first.
No, but don't worry about first. Compare you and Allen right now, right? Both of you had made about the same playoff run in Madden, right? You have the history, but Allen's also won Super Bowl, right, in a short amount of time. You both have teams. His team's a little bit better than yours. Right, so it's like very close. It's like 1A, 1B to me. I think that's kind of like those two it's so similar right there, and then everyone else is kind of I don't think I could put above you guys.
I'll let you all decide.
Cody, to be clear, the reason I have you above Allen is because I think you're in the way easier conference.
That's true.
I think
Yeah.
like I could see you going like Allen is not beating Dan or Warren season 1. I'm sorry. Like if it happens, I'll be blown away. You on the other hand, like I could see
Don't say that because Alan's gonna send Austin a text if he beats me. I don't have to deal with that part of my life again.
Yeah, Lucky's Washington. That's about right. Ben's West Virginia. I think I don't see anything glaring anymore.
I mean, I feel like this is a good list. I feel like we have.
I feel like we cooked personally.
I feel like we've peaked right here with our tier list. Like this is a good list. I feel like we've got.
No one's even played the game yet, and we are like, "Yup."
Yeah. but still, I just feel like. I feel like we've got, from the information we know, I feel like we've got something special right here. I think we, like, somebody screenshot it right here. This is your chance. Screenshot it. Everybody that's here, screenshot it. Go ahead. Do it. Screenshot it. Like, I think we got something kind of special right here, you know?
After season 1, we'll revisit this and then do a new tier and then see how things match up.
I know,
That'd be really cool
yeah. Exactly. That's college football, baby. Like, let's get after
Cody,
it.
we're gonna buy the same bottle of bourbon too, so we're all on the same level. And Connor, I know you're more of a Moscato guy, but we'll get you hooked up, and we'll.
I'll be sipping on my dessert wines while y'all drink your bourbon. It's fine with me. No, I've said it before for BLN. I've said it again. All tiers are unimpeachable. All takes are 100% accurate. So like we just decided like how the first season's gonna go, and that's fine by me.
Yeah.
Fine by me.
Here we go. All right.
Well. Yeah. Y'all. 2 hours and 40 minutes.
What? Yeah. What a show.
No, go ahead, Warren. But like, you go ahead.
I think I'm better than Dan. But I'll just leave it at that on my last.
I agree, but I think Alabama's quite a bit better than LSU.
They are, but I think I'll win. So that'll be a good matchup.
Let's go.
You know what? We'll find out.
Let's
Again,
go.
Hopefully QB contain works, and if it does, I'll be in decent shape.
A lot of rivalries are already getting juiced up. We can see it in the chat, and
we love it. We love it, dude.
We'll hit the field here in just over a month. So I'm very excited for that.
Sorry,
Cody, Warren. I mean, this is going down into history books for Better League streams, in my opinion. Like, this is incredible. We spent damn near 3 hours.
Yeah, this is a good time.
Users based on a game that none of us have played yet. This is incredible content.
This is a good time. Yeah, this is a good time.
Do either of you have any like final thoughts? Anything you want to say to the people before we wrap up?
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I think this is, we're in uncharted territories. But I mean, we wanted to deliver this content, because I think it's fun and it's exciting. It gets people engaged, gets people excited, and let's get after it. Let's get after college football.
Yeah, we're less than 2 weeks away. When the game drops, everyone's gonna be playing. It's gonna be so much juice in the chat. Like, everyone's gonna be so hyped up. This has the potential to be something really special and really incredible. And even if it's half of what we think it's going to be, it's still going to be better than anything we could have expected. So I'm very excited. I know I'm going to be fully locked in. I'll be on paternity. Cody's got paternity coming up too. You're gonna have some guys with sore thumbs playing this game, just learning how to recruit, learning pipelines and all this nonsense. So I'm ready to go, and it's going to be a good time.
I mean, I want recruiting shows, obviously commentary. We're going to get the key rivalries commentated. Like, we can do, like, rankings breakdowns, obviously the platform. Like, I have so many ideas just percolating.
Our own top 25 and things like that.
Our own top 25. And, yeah, I mean, I am just so excited to get this thing started. Cody, Warren, thank you both so much. And, Cody, thank you for stepping up and hosting this, because, again, my computer was fighting me every step of the way. But you did a fantastic job. The face cam's as beautiful as ever. And, yeah, thank you both. And again, we're 12 days away from the release day, and just under a month away from the start of the inaugural Better League College Football League. So we're cooking, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Better League's never been in a better place. Take care, y'all.
Oh boy.